Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, March the 29th, 2018, and by God, we have finally gotten what almost amounts to a spring day here in Halifax for a couple of days, and it felt good. It felt good. I went for a walk, guys. I actually left my house, put shoes on, went for a walk in the woods, smelled the spring air, and as I said in my tweet, I tweeted this out. I don't know if you saw this, Jeff. I thought I was being clever, but there was only like 10 likes on it. I was like, fuck. I was hoping it was gonna blow up. No, well, it didn't blow up. I said, it's the first real day of spring in Halifax. When the garbage flows freely with the spring winds after it was once encased in ice, and every Asian student is at the rubber ducky car wash cleaning their $80,000 BMW so that the plebeians can see their reflection. That's when you know it's the first real day.
Hey, I wasn't even at the car wash today. I was there yesterday though.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, but you're not. You're not the Asian student though. You're not in that demo. They're out there first day.
Oh.
First day. Hell,
I was really tempted to ask, where's Jeff in that?
I see some of those guys out there in the middle of winter at the rubber ducky trying to get their car clean, and then they drive like 3.5 inches out of the lot and salt everywhere.
You really want to protect your car, you dip it, and then you take it off.
Oh, they do that too. They do that too. That's a really common thing for. However, that's how you tend to tell the difference between the truly rich Asian students and then the Asian students that just have like above average income parents who are trying to look a little extra special because they've got like it's not like a 7 Series BMW.
Most of them are very rich.
Yeah,
I know a couple of them.
It's more like a Nissan 370 with like a fucking like just dip, just a matte black dip. It's just they have several dollars. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Technical Alpha podcast. Gentlemen, how are you doing? Panic, your camera is looking extra good today.
Yeah, man, I got everything started to boot up for the podcast. Camera wasn't turning on. Tried plugging it into a few ports, and it was like, nah, bro, not today. We're done today.
Yeah, so you'll see at the bottom, for those of you who can watch this on YouTube, at the bottom of where Jeff's camera is now, you can see a little miniature me, a very small me, and then a static image of Panic sitting on a couch from 1964.
Hey, man, that wasn't that long ago. That's like 50 pounds ago, okay?
That's
hilariously enough, that picture's only from like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but that's still 4 years ago, bro. That's like me on Facebook, where I haven't changed my Facebook profile picture since like I was 18.
Bro, who even uses Skype anymore? All right, tell me some slack.
Unfortunately, we do.
That sounds like a we problem. But,
it's just so unfortunate that we still have to use it, but we do. Yeah. But Mr. Black, how you doing today?
I'm all right.
Yeah.
Same old same.
Yeah. Living the dream. Congratulations on having only lost another 18 hours of your life to RuneScape.
There you go. Yeah. been playing lots of RuneScape. I'm trying to get this quest cape almost there now. 2 quests left. And then I will be officially done. It'll feel good.
I don't know how you do it. I went into that chat the other day to watch because I was like, all right, this is the big one. I might as well show up for this one. So I show up, and I spent like 3 seconds in that chat, and I was like, what the fuck? No.
I don't want to knock RuneScape people, but
I do. They're assholes.
I just want to let me get the thought out. It's mind-numbing enough to like watch someone play it. Not just Jeff. Like, a game is just dull for me, and that's fine if people like it. But how do what happens in chat for this that gets everyone so frothy?
Well, it's
moist.
It's a purist game, right? So you gotta. What I've learned is the RuneScape community. It's actually a great community. It really is. They're a very tight niche, very loyal community. And when I first went in there,
They showed you a lot of love.
Oh, they showed me mad love. And it wasn't until I literally took a 4-day break. 4 days. I counted it. 4 days. 1,600 hours of RuneScape. 6 months. Broke every, crazy thing that you can possibly do in RuneScape. Did the unthinkable. Took 4 days. I don't even know what I played. I think I played StarCraft for 4 days, or I did something. I think this was like right around the time we started doing these tournaments. And I did one, and it took a few days. It just needed a mental break. And that was when it just did a 180. That was when I was like the savior into the devil, where it was like he's selling out to play some bullshit StarCraft game for the money, and he came in and he took our money and then he left, and they got like super. It was crazy. So anyway, ever since then, and even when I came back and I was playing again for a whole bunch, I didn't feel the same way, because I knew in my mind, I didn't want to say it, but I knew like there's no way in fuck I'm gonna play this game forever. Like there's no way in fuck I'm gonna play RuneScape until I retire gaming. Like what?
No one's gonna play a single game forever.
Well, but
it's not feasible.
Well, unless you're a RuneScape.
Unless you're a RuneScape
right?
player, yeah,
That's
exactly
the thing.
what
Like you don't want to admit that, because they're automatically gonna click out and fucking hate on you and say everything. Because the problem is with RuneScape is they have grown up on the game. A lot of them are still playing it religiously. They don't give any other game a try. They're max efficiency, where there is no girlfriends, there is no free time. There's none of this. I mean, obviously some people do, but I'm just saying in general, everything is looked at as, inefficiency and a waste.
You're either in the game or you're not.
And they're just purists. So you have to play a certain way. You have to be efficient. They don't understand what fun is. And everything has to be done in the most efficient way possible, which means if you're not doing it that way, they're going to tell you about it. If you take any time off, there's something wrong. They always want to know, like, what's next? Like, what are you doing next? It's like, man, I'm 400 hours away from accomplishing this goal, and they want to know what you're going to do 3 things from that. It's a nonstop. It's a psychological thing, and I've learned that. And yeah, it's very frustrating, and I've lashed out a few times about it, but then I also got to understand that it's almost like the way somebody's brought up, and then it's the only thing they know. So you can't get angry at them
this
because
is like
they
an
don't
analogy
understand.
for racist children.
I was gonna say that, but I didn't want to say, if you're born a racist. I would say more like this, because it's really not that, because you can be taught to be not racist, right? I would say it's more of a religious thing. Somebody's brought up in religion, because no, it's not. I think it's different. You're
taught a mentality one way or another. It's the same fucking thing. You just don't want to say racist.
Okay, I just don't want to say racist. Okay, I don't want to say racist because they're not racist, obviously.
No, but they're probably also not super religious either. So
no,
it's just...
well, the RuneScape is a religion, right? So they treat it like a religion. And if any, I think this is the best analogy possible. But if you're brought up believing in Jesus, or if you're Buddhist or whatever the hell your thing is, you're gonna only believe that. And then when somebody comes along and says, well, no, that's not the way it is, or you should try other things, you're going, whoa, what is this other thing? Like, that's the devil, like that's a sin. We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole, and that's just the way it is.
Evangelical Puritans.
Black people can swim?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? Asians can drive? What? So it's sort of that, and that's the mentality of a scaper. And it's a love-hate thing, and I get it. Like I don't take it to heart. Because I realize that that's just how they're conditioned. The only thing they know, they don't play any other games. It's very rare that they do. They don't want to. They don't even want to think about it. And then there's I would say about 15% where they get it. They're like, yeah, man, you need a break. Like, everybody goes through this. Like, you need. They don't care.
Go and do something else, and then you come back.
The vast majority, it's like you're in or you're out, bud. There is no in and out. It's you're in or you're out. And that's the part that I just can't handle, because they're delusional if they actually think that I'm gonna fucking play this game until the end of time without playing any other games. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Nothing to do with money. It's nothing to do with anything. It just
what it reminded me
of?
Is it reminded me of like a hyper, like an even more acutely cultish community than StarCraft. So like in StarCraft, you'd get all the time the sellout thing, right? Or whatever. Like the moment you did anything that wasn't StarCraft for like 4.5 seconds, it was a sellout maneuver. But it reminded me of that, but like 1,000 times
Well,
worse.
they're so like RuneScape, they're so self-absorbed with themselves that they actually, I mean, it happens all the time where they actually believe that my career was made from RuneScape. Like they actually believe that like,
they didn't bother to take like the 5 seconds to figure out what happened before RuneScape.
You could just Google my name and you could see like the history.
How much RuneScape is attached to your name? Like at that point, if they had searched it, it would have been not very much.
Well, it's crazy. Like it's they actually just think that it's just all revolved around one thing. And it's like as soon as I played StarCraft, it's like, well, you're going for the money. It's like, dude, and they actually think like, and because I did so financially well while I was playing RuneScape, they think that they owned me, but RuneScape, out of all the games that I've played, is the game that I made the least amount of money playing. So it's but they don't get that, right? They're like, oh, you got a ton of donations. Like, dude, I always get a ton of donations. It has nothing to do with RuneScape, right? Obviously there's people in RuneScape that contributed to the success, or the subscriptions or a donation or whatever, absolutely, and it's appreciated. But don't think for a second that this wasn't that I just kind of stumbled upon this game and this was it. This was 6 months out of, at the time, a 6-year career. It's like, this is one step of many different things that I have done, but they don't. This is what it is. But you know what? I still love the community. I think they're great, and you kind of have to pretend a little bit with them. You kind of have to pretend.
This just sounds like you're dealing with like a child that is like brainwashed.
It's childish. Well, it's childish mentality. But the thing is they don't. A lot of them, it's not. And I don't say childish in a bad way. It's not like they're maliciously being this way because they want to be mean. It's just all they know. So it's kind of, like I say, like a religious thing.
They're fucking most of them are adults though. Like the people playing RuneScape, there aren't like a whole hell of a lot of 13-year-old kids playing RuneScape.
But I mean, come on. I mean, it's one of those games. It's one of those games where it's an MMO. I mean, it's like World of Warcraft, right?
That community isn't like that at all, though.
No, they're not.
Even close.
I think also with World of Warcraft, it's one of those things where people have they've taken breaks many times. Like they come in, they come out, they come in, they come out. It's like RuneScape. It's like if you don't leave, motherfucker. It's like Scientology, right? When you're in there, that's the show, bitch, or you're getting lynched. So deal with it. There's no getting out.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
It is what it is. But you know what? I've been playing it now for 3 days. I've been 3 days back, and I'm having fun. I've definitely had some outbursts, but I'm having fun nonetheless, and I'll probably continue to have fun. And then when I get the quest cape, we'll see what happens. But chances are I'm going to get it and be like, that was fun. Next.
Bye. I need to go sell out now in front of 150 people playing Fortnite.
So, Jeff, real talk, what's next?
I don't know.
It's a good, probably Fortnite, actually, I would imagine.
I'm liking Fortnite a lot.
Overwatch is a poor choice for viewer count for literally anyone.
Overwatch is a poor choice for your mental mindset and like sanity. It's a fun game, but it's hard to stream and grind.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say that any team competitive game is hard mentally to stream and grind. Flat out. I haven't played a team competitive game that hasn't been a detriment to my sanity in some way, shape, or form. Strip me of my soul on some level. I think that's just the nature of that space. It's just kind of the way it is. But there's something about Overwatch that they still haven't figured out yet, whereby it might be relatively fun to play when all the cogs are working in the right way and the team's working together and you have a good time. Which is like any competitive team game. But from a viewership's perspective, or from like a viewer's perspective, it just, for the majority of people, it seems to be boring as fuck. Like nobody wants to watch from a singular person's perspective. Overwatch League does well, but that's a totally different. It's a different.
It's a spectator sport.
It's at that point. It's from a spectator's view. It's an event. It's different than just watching somebody grind out Overwatch. It's a hurting situation. We've talked about
when
that
you're
before.
when you're watching Overwatch League, you have the casters, the production, the team, all this other stuff, as opposed to single streamer, single view, single gameplay.
Yeah,
very different experience.
Yeah, and it's just kind of hard to watch, like especially if the
first person is just hard in general.
Yeah, it's hectic as hell. I mean, when I'm playing it first person, I don't know how you feel about this, Jeff. When I'm playing this in first person, or you, Panic, I guess you play a lot of Overwatch too. Even when I'm playing it, the game is so hectic that there's about 40 to 50% of the time, I'm not even 100% sure what the fuck I just did and if it was exactly what I meant to do. Like, there's just so much stuff happening, especially when there's a bunch of alts happening at once, and there's just people flying all over the screen. You get a Junkrat booping people and a fucking Pharah booping people, and there are just allies and enemies fucking running all over the place, and you're just trying to, like, figure out what the hell it is you're trying to do. It's so hectic, and then to watch that and be separated mechanically from that and try to absorb what the fuck you're watching is like a... Like,
it might be just me getting old, but I'm actually like moving away from a lot of like the frenetic, crazy games. Like I've just found myself being like, I'll play some Heroes of the Storm. I picked up like Stellaris and a lot of like the bigger grand strategy games that are like slower paced, more methodical, where you don't have to have like all this stuff going on your screen. I'm like, come home from work. I'm like, I'm tired, man. I don't want to run around chaotically shooting if I want to do that, if I want my shooters and stuff, I'll go play like an actual story shooter or something.
You definitely need a certain like energy level to tackle that kind of game.
Yeah, it gets exhausting.
Yeah, because it does take energy to do it, because it's not, I wouldn't classify Overwatch as a Twitch shooter, but it is awfully, like you said, frenetic. It is definitely a speedier shooter. So yeah, anyway, that's, I don't know what you're going to grind next, but I'm sure you'll find something. Probably Fortnite. I would imagine Fortnite ends up being it.
I don't know. I don't know if I could grind Fortnite, honestly, and Fortnite I feel like is sort of a dead end because it is so saturated. I think Fortnite will be a great game that I'll play just about every evening for a few hours. I think it's one of those. Honestly, I can see it happening. I would love if there was a viewership and like just a something for Heroes of the Storm. I could play that game full time. I really could.
I've been enjoying it a lot more this recently. Like,
yeah, I've been playing.
I come home and I play like I'll come home and I'll be like, you know what? Let me just hop in for 2 games of Heroes of the Storm and then I'll go about and do whatever. I never had like a MOBA or anything do that to me, but I'm like, even there's a competitive aspect to it, but it can be surprisingly chill at times. Yeah,
it's I do enjoy it a great deal. There's just no future in Heroes of the Storm. There isn't, unless you're there's maybe like 3 people that are doing well with Heroes, and then that's
they have their core community, which has like they have the people who can go full time and they're fine on Heroes, but it's not like unless something big happens, it's not going to be like a growth area for new streamers coming in.
Yeah. And so that's sort of the same deal with Overwatch. Like Overwatch suffers from the same thing, where it's just like, what, if there's a big tournament, people are going to watch, and then everybody else is like, there's a few, but then there's no the eyes that are watching those games, what little community they have, they're already in love with somebody, right? They're already watching somebody, and so it's really tough for any type of new streamer to go in. But for me, it's honestly, it's all probably going to boil right back to StarCraft. It's the game that I'm good at, that I enjoy, that I still have lots to learn in Legacy. I've never hit Grandmasters in Legacy of the Void. So, there's always StarCraft, and for some reason it doesn't matter. I can just play StarCraft. It's weird. That game is weird for me. Like I can play it and I get mad, like I'll go on tilt and I'll get mad at it for a day or two, but I can just grind it, and it's like second nature. It's like a game I just don't get upset about, and it's just one of those things. But who knows? I do love Fortnite though. Fortnite's so much fun, man. But Ninja just ruins it for everybody.
Well, I don't like. I kind of view Fortnite and Overwatch in a similar aspect from a viewing perspective, where they both come across to me as games that that people want to see somebody be extraordinary at it if they're going to watch somebody play it
Yeah,
by
of course.
themselves.
Yep, of course.
You know, there are games that are in the competitive space where people care far less about that aspect as long as like fun moments kind of happen or whatever. And you would think Fortnite would be kind of conducive to that because so much crazy stuff can happen in Fortnite. But the thing about that is that you tend to have to be pretty good at it to make that shit happen in the first place. You know what I mean? So like, especially when you have people like Ninja one-upping everyone else all the time, where you're seeing all these people do these crazy things like these fortresses to the sky, or the how can I with a partner jump on a rocket, fly halfway across the map, jump off the rocket, do like a fucking 1080, one shot no scope a motherfucker to end the game. Like you know, there's only so much up that you can go from there. It just always kind of seemed like, even early on when Fortnite first started, it didn't seem like a game that had a lot of traction for anyone who wasn't already really damn good at the game, for whatever reason. And I've never figured out the formula for that, because there are other games that also occupy that space. Like Overwatch is definitely one. CSGO is another one, but that one's obviously the most obvious. That's like one of the oldest games, so the people that tend to want to watch that are people that are like looking for a really good player.
For lack of it's kind of a clusterfuck at this point. You can try to project what's going to be next, or what games to go into.
There isn't really one coming right now. We're just in the Fortnite era right now, and that's
we have
already
no idea what's
on.
going to be next. Like what fad or what game genre? I don't even want to call it a fad. Like what game genre? What's going to be something that's going to capture someone's like friggin' mind, and then Twitch is just going to explode with it. It's hard to tell.
It's
like
we
kind of
more battle royales. That's it. Like that, we're gonna just see more.
We say
royale.
that we say that until the next game comes along. That's not a battle royale.
Well, yeah, but that's what we're in right now. That is like
we're still like at least
we're in that fever.
Out, right?
We're in that fever
still
pitch.
We're still doing this upward tick, right? And you know, PUBG started it, then Fortnite continued it on, and it's carrying it up, and we're gonna find out wherever the hell the top of that peak is. And then, you know, it's unlikely, obviously, that a third party is going to come in and continue it from Fortnite. I think we're going to have, it's going to be, where does Fortnite top out?
So like the MOBAs have kind of peaked and are on their downturn, and the battle royales have taken over.
MOBAs have been on a downturn, but
I know. I'm just like, this is the trend. So we're saying battle royales are going up, and then just calling the battle royale downtick in a couple of years. I'm going to put it at maybe a year and a half. Whatever.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard to tell, and we can take a fucking guess at it. I would. I mean, there's always the chance. Here's what my thoughts were on it. I saw a big list of stats for Fortnite on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. One of the sites posted up, because it's been blowing everywhere up. It's just been over the moon everywhere, right? A thought came to my mind, and this can sometimes happen anywhere, is that what if this burns out quick because it's so hot? You know, in life, this can happen anywhere. Sometimes shit can be so hot, red hot, and the whole world is just fucking in on that shit, and it just blows up to this massive size, but then it can quickly collapse in on itself. That's what I'm interested in how well this genre, not just Fortnite, but the genre, can hold this bubble that's been built up in like, if we're honest, a year. It's like 1 year has passed, and this is where we're at, and we have this trend where Fortnite has now basically taken over both Twitch and YouTube, and the minds of every child over the age of 4. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So maybe that happens, or we get a longer tail thing that trails off until the next fad comes up. And then the question becomes, what the hell is going to come after Battle Royale? Because Battle Royale was kind of a sleeper, right? It was a genre that was around for a while, but then it just
it's been around since like 2013 or 14.
Yeah, and then it just clicked. PUBG kind of carried it.
Fortnite Mobile made $72 million in in-app purchases in the first fucking day.
God bless China.
First freaking day.
That's all I'm thinking that company is saying to themselves right now is God
I can
bless
tell you right
China.
now, Fortnite is not going anywhere
Not anytime
soon. It's probably
It's going to be a
to-
staple.
It'll probably be here and on top. I'm going to say at least another 2 years. But I mean,
Fortnite, I think, is here to stay. It's going to be on the top 10 list. We're going to see probably for a very, very long time. Just like League and Dota they're just going to be there near the top, but they're not going to be the top anymore. So I think Fortnite's got maybe a year and a half, and then something else is going to come in.
Here's a really cool question that I started thinking about here. It's kind of related to this. I haven't even hit the topic list yet, but I just don't care.
Well, we're kind of into it.
We're kind of there. We're touching on it, so that's fine. But we're seeing with Twitch anyway, and YouTube's gonna fiddle with it a bit, I'm sure as well. But with the extensions and all of these tie-ins to these games that we're seeing now in the streaming world, with games, and we're getting rewards for watching and participating in communities that are playing certain games, etc., etc. Some games are directly connected with Twitch in ways where the chat can get involved directly with the gameplay itself and modify what's happening.
Holy shit! They clicked right in on that.
So here's a question: Where's the end game for that? How far does that trickle in? Because what happens when developers? Okay, so here's where I think this is. I'll frame it this way. This is where I could see it going. If developers know or have the game know when it's being streamed, which is not a particularly difficult thing for it to do, especially. The only way that it would be hard would be, let's say, if somebody was using a capture card to PC stream or something in a PC environment, for example. But there are ways to figure that out. What happens when developers start having flags for that in the game that make things happen more regularly to make the game appear even more epic than it would be normally because they know it's being watched by a group of people as somebody is streaming the game?
Can you rephrase that?
Okay, so we know that developers are obviously utilizing streaming.
Streamer favoritism. That's what you're saying?
Yes, but it's not like there's somebody in a server room watching the stream and pressing a button to make something happen in the game. But what I'm saying is, what happens because we know that developers are already savvy to the fact that streams sell games like nobody's fucking business, right? Or conversely, they can fuck them in the ass because their game is shit.
It's a double-edged sword.
Exactly. It can either carry you or it can ruin your life. So what happens when they have the game coded to understand when it's being streamed, and then there are modifiers to the game, like, for example, let's say it was Sea of Thieves, okay, to make an easier example. And you know that there's the Kraken is in the Sea of Thieves, which is a relatively uncommon
you're talking about
encounter.
Messing with the outcomes in order to make it look more exciting.
To make it look more exciting because the game knows it's being streamed, and for the developer, the more exciting the game is for those who are streaming it and by proxy those watching it, the better chance it is at being a positive experience for a sale than a negative experience, which Sea of Thieves could desperately use again for this analogy, because right now, while it's been selling really well, it looks like it's going to be one of those games that might sell really well in the short term, but then struggle in the long term because of a lack of content, and streamers have started to latch on to that as well and talk about it social media wise. So
I suspect and this is not a knock on you at all. I think you're just reading a little bit too much into that kind of engagement model, because it's a little bit too much effort to just detect when you're streaming and make it more exciting, as opposed to just having that excitement level. Yeah, just have it at that level to begin with. But I get where you're coming from. So engagement,
but is it that much effort though?
I mean, there's no real point in doing it.
I'm not a fucking programmer, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
however,
depends,
if you asked me 3 years ago, if people were going to be able to directly interact with me through Twitch fucking chat to change things in a video game, I'd tell you you're out of your fucking mind. Because why the fuck would they do that, and how would they do it?
Part of it's coming into the whole thing now is developers have realized it's not like streaming and interaction that's the huge part. It's engagement with the audience on like a persistent basis. Like the game itself, people can play it and buy it, and that's important. But they need to keep the game in people's minds so that either more people buy it or more people see it.
Well, I mean,
so
that's
that
like
it's got a longer
old,
tail.
That's just old school marketing mind
but
share
now they're
shit.
finding, but now they're trying to, now they found a way to actually do it with the games. So like Vermintide is a prime example of this, and it's actually a really smart way to incorporate it. Pretty much any Left 4 Dead style game where you've got hordes, co-op, whatever you're running through, and you have a game director which kind of randomizes and determine what's going to come. Vermintide pretty much said, yo dog, instead of having the director, if you integrate with your Twitch stream and your streaming, we'll just put the director choices up on the screen and your Twitch chat will choose what happens to you. And that's the show. And now Twitch chat, it's part of the reason why Vermintide's so popular, and you see it on streams all over, because it gives a way for the chat to interact. And for a game that's actually indie, it doesn't have a publisher, they're doing pretty well. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in games going forward. I don't know if it's going to be a good or bad thing. I think we're going to see some ridiculous implementations of it, but I think something like that's going to become a lot more prevalent. We might even see ridiculous battle royale stuff with that sort of crap in there. So it could be interesting, but at the same time, developers are going to do whatever they can to keep eyes on their product.
It just, it's just when I thought about it, the stuff that we've seen happen on Twitch, it just seemed to me like something that sounds crazy, but isn't completely far-fetched. I mean, for God's sake, this was years ago now. I don't like to admit that it's years ago, because then I think about how long we've been around doing this shit, but Twitch Plays Pokemon was the thing that blew everyone's fucking mind.
That was kind of a starter point for this kind of engagement model.
Right? Like I know personally, I was mind fucked. I watched it. I had it on. I was like,
why would someone write this to begin with? And then when I was like, why would someone write this? This seems like the most. And then I'm like, I'm more impressed that Twitch is somehow making progress. Like as an entity hive mind, Twitch is actually making progress in this game.
Yeah. But it's just it's that kind of stuff where I've now,
and that kind of engagement. I can't advertise and shit salivating.
Yeah, sure, exactly. So like I just thought that maybe that's like a natural progression to that shit, because I wouldn't, if people are already making games specifically for streamers to play or that with that streamers in mind, kind of like they did with PewDiePie on YouTube, where it was like people were literally just making games for PewDiePie to play on small budgets, and then they'd sell like 1 million copies and make stupid money, because
the next sort of thing you're probably going to see, especially with this whole Twitch engagement model and this sort of thing, especially where you have games like Fortnite where you have tons of people with eyes on it. I think you're going to start seeing developers actually going. Remember a while back, EA started doing that thing with product placement in game.
What you mean? You mean play Need for Speed and see billboard ads for Old Spice?
Yeah, I think you're going to start seeing shit like that in games like Fortnite, where you're going to have like areas and cities and Battle Royale where you're dropping down. There's going to be ads, billboard ads.
I don't think you're going to see that. You know why? Because EA already got fucking shit on for doing it for years until nobody else did it. People backlashed on Minecraft for being able to feed chickens cookies to the point where they took it out. If you think they're going to allow ads to start popping up in billboards in Fortnite en masse, I think that might be a bit of a stretch.
We're going to start seeing that.
A bit of a stretch. I would be impressed, honestly, because it's, especially with Fortnite, it's a younger generation game, and the younger the generation gets, the less they like advertisement. They just don't want, like, I mean, think about how much, we ushered gratification. Well, it's not even that. It has nothing to do with gratification. They just don't want to fucking have ads bombard them 24 hours a day. I mean, we ushered in the era of ad blocker, for God's sake. And now you got kids that are like growing up on as few ads as humanly possible soon as they learn it's a possibility.
On the phone with YouTube knows instinctively to press the skip ad button. She'll keep tapping it until it comes up.
Exactly. Like you've got people bred to not want to watch advertisements, so I doubt that's actually going to take much of a foothold.
Well, that's why they're going to try to find ways to integrate it into the gameplay. They don't want to watch a direct ad, but having just some passive ads sitting there.
Look, Red Bull fucked up when they didn't hop on that PUBG train and just let them use
God.
that Red Bull colored can. Because everyone, I'd thought it. I don't even drink Red Bull. I
looked
that
at it, I'm
energy
like, oh,
drink.
that's a fucking Red Bull can.
I was like, that's a Red Bull can, and I think everyone else probably thought the same thing.
Well, that's why they didn't bother doing it. Is because everybody thought of Red Bull anyway.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
No point in paying PUBG shit tons of money to have Red Bull.
But then they changed. And then PUBG was like, wait a minute, we got to change it now.
Well, because PUBG probably tried to get money from them. They're probably like, why don't we just make this? Why don't we just make this the official energy drink of PUBG? And Red Bull was probably like, no.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with this assessment. The only advertisement that's going to work for most of the people doing this shit is whatever Ninja puts on his fucking Twitter feed. That's about Mr. Miyagi is in chat.
The Ninja ad network.
Yeah, I mean it's like Doc does it with his stuff too. He just flat out he doesn't. It's not even like an integrated ad where it's something he's using. It's literally he might as well be retweeting corporates like Twitter account.
Devour food thing.
It's just no. It's not even that. I can't remember what it was for. The last one I saw.
There was like a food one.
It's the TV dinner things. Like the Devour mac and cheese.
No, but not a video. I meant just in his Twitter feed. This was just like yesterday. I saw this, and it wasn't his Devour thing. I've seen that shit, but it was something else. Can't remember what it was though. But yeah, it's just that's that. Yeah, I can that because influencers are where advertisers tend to go in this space more than trying to put an actual ad in a game or on a screen during a video feed or something like that, because it just doesn't seem to be nearly as effective. I mean, and for good reason. People just don't want to have that shit put in their face all the time. Unless you are as good as Old Spice at creating advertisements for every ad you do, nobody wants to see your shit. Nobody wants to see you, have like a completely unrelated series
Speaking
of images.
Old Spice, Terry Crews just
he's in
my
what?
tweet.
Oh, did he? What game? What tweet was that? What tweet was that?
He just liked my tweet like 10 minutes ago.
Fuck you.
So there was like I follow him on Terry Crews on Twitter, and there was a reporter that one sec, I'm trying to find it here. Let me see your tweets and replies. Okay, yeah. So there's a reporter that tweeted out at Terry Crews, and it was basically here. I'll put the tweet here in the chat. So if you click on that, so basically he said, spoke at the UCA last night, and the price tag was $50,000. Like somebody got a hold of the contract and saw that he got paid $50,000 to do his appearance. That was his appearance fee and to do a speech.
That's a pretty standard appearance fee, actually.
Oh no, I've seen a lot more than $50,000, but $50,000 is usually
bigger names and like politicians and stuff will take like 75, 80, 90, 200 depending on that.
So anyway, I tweeted out to this guy. I said, "Seems like a lot of money to a broke reporter bitching about other success. Great tweet. #more and #jealousy." And then Terry Crews liked my tweet.
Get it.
Let's go.
Get it.
Let's go.
I like how you capitalized jealousy there. This is very nice.
Yeah, I want to make sure he saw it.
Emphasis.
Yeah, emphasis on the jealous. Well, that's all it is, right? The guy sitting there crying that somebody else made $50K. And he's like he's just some broke bum reporter, like wearing a
for Fox even.
Yeah, wearing a $150 suit.
Oh,
fucking
God.
Bum.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to complain about appearance fees for? Seriously, come on now.
There's way worse people to go after the Terry Crews for appearance fees.
Like you can't it's what people are willing to pay for. It's called the free fucking market. I mean, I don't understand why somebody would.
I don't want to necessarily fly out to wherever UCA is,
sure,
and do a full thing.
Absolutely,
unless it's worth my while. So someone's going to pay me $50,000
a month.
Yeah,
I'm going to go fly.
Shouldn't there be a cap?
Because people want to. That's what people want.
Yeah,
and it's
so
a shocking
I'll come
concept.
to UCA, but make it worth my time.
I don't want to blow your mind.
Simple
but
economics.
I don't want to blow your mind, but nobody gives a fuck about a D-rated Fox News reporter.
Nobody
wants to pay you anything to do anything.
No, he's
I'm
just salty.
actually
He'll
positive
probably pay us to show up on the podcast.
that Fox is trying to find ways to not pay him to do his job at this point. So
I'm pretty positive the $50,000 Terry Crews made for that is more than that
his
guy's salary,
yeah.
which is why he's salty and jealous.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just
So
crazy.
anyway, I got a like from Terry Crews, so
10 out of
half my
10.
life is pretty much complete.
Yeah, I mean, where do you go from there? I mean,
The Rock,
Morgan
that's it.
Freeman, but he's not on Twitter, so you
Just
can't.
The Rock,
you can't,
that's it.
The Rock, okay,
That's it.
that's a bit more lofty. That one's going to be tougher.
That's a lofty one. I'm gonna try and find my spot to get in there with a quippy tweet.
Yeah, that's $100,000 appearance fee on that one.
At least. Well, probably a lot more than that, man. Fuck.
So we covered a bit of the Fortnite stuff, so we don't have to worry about that. Oh, I'll just toss out. They're adding the guided missile thing. It looks interesting. I think its entire balance will be completely dictated by how well people or how good people get at hiding themselves while they're guiding the missile.
Oh, so it's like the thing from like Battlefield when you fire it out of like the helicopter, you'd like fly by wire to the thing.
Yeah, it's
pretty fun.
Yeah, it's that kind of deal.
That would be interesting in squads.
PUBG, yeah, we can get guarded for sure.
Yeah.
PUBG added weapon skins and are adding sprays,
that
kind
last
of like
patch was weak.
kind of like Overwatch's sprays thing. Which I'm not gonna hate on them for it. I just wish that they were more active in solving their more, and I also appreciate that the art department is not the same as the programming department. So again, I can't be like, well, fuck you. Like a lot of people were like, why don't you just fix the game and stop focusing on things like skins and shit? Like, well, believe it or not, the programmers aren't the ones doing the skins. So you can't really hate on them for doing these things in parallel. It's just one is shorter than the other. But it does unfortunately look shady to people when they are pumping this kind of stuff out and not fixing some of the core problems. Do I care about skins in PUBG? No. You know why? Because their drop rates are as bad as gacha games. And that's bad. If you don't know what a gacha game is, you don't know how bad those drop rates are, look it up and then be depressed. I mean, we're talking about like 0.02% on some of this shit. Like you might as well buy a lottery ticket type deal. I bought 4 crates and they were all the bum ass skins for every gun, like some tan colored bum skin for every single one of them.
Get fucked with your tan ass guns.
Fucking terrible. And then they polled people on Twitter, what would you like to see, or like send us a picture of a tag, and then we're gonna choose one to be actually featured in the game, which is kind of cool. But of course, everyone's response was, sending a picture in of region lock China, which is pretty.
A pretty good spray to have.
It's pretty good. And then my submission was apologize for the inconvenience. Which I think could work in the game. If you kill a motherfucker and you spray apologize for the inconvenience, that is some deep meme shit right there. I would be all over that for sure. And it would be a way for them to kind of poke fun at themselves, because let's be honest, they need some
what
fucking
about a
humor.
Fortnite logo?
Oh well, that might get them in trouble, but I wouldn't hate on seeing that either. But
Or
some
like,
of the submissions
something that
were
says you should have built a wall.
yeah. Well, I guess they could maybe they do like a Trump reference. Work the Trump reference in. Okay, so Artifact. We talked about that a few times as stuff has been coming out. That's the card game from Steam. That's going to be rolling out, I guess, if I remember correctly, sometime this year. In some form anyway. So there's 7 minutes of gameplay that GameSpot has that I scrolled through and watched a bit of and was kind of listening and seeing what the mechanics and things were like. From a visual perspective, it looks pretty good. It looks like a Valve adaptation of Hearthstone, really. But there's more animation happening on screen to a degree than there would be in Hearthstone. But it looks good. They're utilizing what it really looks like is when they sat down, somebody said, let's just turn Dota into a card game. And
that's pretty much what they've been pushing at.
And they took that about as far as you could possibly take it. So there's 3 lanes or 3 boards in this instance that's representative of the 3 lanes, with the goal being the first person to kill 2 towers or 2 lanes in this instance is the victor. And so you're playing kind of 3 mini games amongst these, 3 lanes. And there's between each turn, there's like a shop phase kind of thing, like if you were going back and you were buying items. In this case, you're getting different cards to play or attach to your current minions, etc. And then there's also creeps that get sent into lanes, kind of like they do in the game as well. They're represented by cards. So it really is a Dota card game.
It felt to me a lot like it was a different take on Gwent. Instead of like having multiple rounds, like the rounds are the lanes, and then your cards kind of play out. So kind of like,
yeah,
I was like, this is kind of like a pivot of Gwent with some other stuff going on in between the turns, but it seemed pretty cool to me at the same time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looked here. The important thing to me was it looked different than
it seemed like there could be a lot of strategy that could happen.
Than the other card games, and to me, I think that's probably the most important thing, because
it
most
will have
of the
its
card
fan
games,
base.
Most of the card games that have come out have been so painfully Hearthstone clones that it was difficult for me to take them seriously. Like the Elder Scrolls Legends one, for example, was literally just Hearthstone.
That's why I loved Gwent so much. It was different.
Yeah,
played well.
But as much as I wanted to, because Elder Scrolls has got great lore to draw from for cards, all this, it's like a perfect world to have a card game, but they didn't differentiate enough from Hearthstone for me to even want to put effort into it, despite the fact that the art was great and the animation was great.
There's that Hearthstone frustration and saturation at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So
this
makes
it a lot harder to give it a try.
This looks different, which is, I think, the most important thing, and it looks like it's going to be good, which you would hope. Valve is capable of still making a decent game. But I think the thing that we talked about last time we discussed this was the fact that there is going to be an open market for these cards, which is perhaps
that's going to give the game a lot more staying power.
Yeah, the most important thing for this game is
you're going to have people who are going to want to cycle out, and then people are going to cycle in, being like, "Oh, I can get cards on the market."
Exactly.
So pretty healthy.
And that will also be perhaps the most intriguing part in terms of following the game as to how that works, because I feel like if this is successful, then it's going to open the way for other card games, eventually digital card games, to come around and also consider having digital markets where there wasn't necessarily one before. So I think that's a pretty important mechanic that they're running with.
So I'm not sure many card games will be able to do it though. Just because
Steam has the marketplace
infrastructure.
Yeah,
it's already put in place. It's already used. Everybody already has Steam. They're already using Steam for it. They know how it works. They know it's trusted. And most card games, they don't really have the budgets anyway. So really, the only other marketplace would be Blizzard, and they're not going to do that. I think they learned their lesson from Diablo and.
What about Magic the Gathering?
So. Magic's just not big enough. I don't think they have the budget for it. They're not willing to put in that type of money.
And Wizards of the Coast have a few dollars under their belt.
I'm not saying they don't have money, but what I'm saying is it'll be a completely. I mean, you're asking a lot. You're asking a lot for development. You're asking a lot for money. You're asking a lot for player teaching the player how to actually use this, to trust this, to want to use this, to go from one thing to another. It's just too much of a hurdle. I think Valve, that will be their differentiating factor. That will be their wow factor. It'll either make them, or the game will just suck and nobody will play it. But I think if the game is good, that will be.
Valve doesn't usually do those type of games.
I'm gonna hazard a guess. I'll take the fall on this one. That if Artifact does well and the market, and by that I mean the marketplace, like if the marketplace is utilized and everything, it does well, that we will see at least somebody else attempt it, and that Magic will eventually adopt it, because Magic is absolutely
Magic is already planning
monstrous.
on doing that with the new version of MTG they're working on.
Yeah, like Magic's one of those things that just kind of happens in the background that you don't even think about, but then it's just absolutely huge.
I don't think Blizzard's going to have the appetite for it, especially after what happened with Diablo. So
I don't think Blizzard cares enough to, because I don't think their model.
They're printing money with the Overwatch boxes.
Yeah, they just don't. But it would be, honestly, it would be interesting. It depends on what their life cycle for Hearthstone is. What are they considering? and I thought about this the other day because the mechanics that they're starting to come up with for like the new expansion that's coming up, they're starting to like. It feels like they're starting to stretch a little bit.
They've been stretching for the last one or two.
Like they're really trying to like grasp at like new mechanics that basically just end up being the same as the old mechanics that they had, which is fine, right? But I guess my question would be, you know,
they've actually started ripping off magic mechanics at this point.
Yeah,
too.
is what is, you know, what is the lifespan that internally within the company they've kind of estimated is the life of Hearthstone, because that would
when
dictate
the money dries up.
At this point,
but from a card game perspective, they need to keep coming up with shit. So they're
at this point, they're gonna just keep going with Hearthstone as best they can for as long as they can, because they've already made so much more money on it than they ever dreamed they would make on it.
Well, of course, it was one of those happy little accidents.
It was like literally one of their back end, like for shits and giggles games that they made, and it made one of their biggest producers. So
yeah,
I think they're just gonna. I don't think they're gonna try to do anything extensive or reinvent anything. I think they're just gonna go with it. They don't need to reinvent it. They're one of the elephants in the room, pretty much.
They own the card space.
I just think about, you know, all I think about is that for me. So if I look 5 years down the road or something, if Artifact does really well and there's the marketplace, you know, do Hearthstone players start to ask Blizzard for that functionality?
No,
I don't think so.
They're too totally. It's like League of Legends asking.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh versus Pokemon cards.
Dota. It's like League wanting to be like Dota. You know, it's going to be two different.
They're different audiences.
Two different.
Okay.
Two different beasts.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Let's be real. Hearthstone is it's dumbed down casual play. And I'm going to assume that Artifact, although will have a casual aspect to it, and I'm not saying that casuals can't play the game, I think it'll be a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more mature. You know, just the fact that they have an online store requires some sort of level of you know, adulting that Hearthstone just doesn't have. Hearthstone is a cookie cutter, kiddie, easy. You know, but pump
it's
money.
It's the game that you
see
a ton of people just play on their phone. Like they're just going to pull it out and play on their phone. Yeah.
It's the card version of League of Legends. That's it. And Artifact will be the card version of Dota. And that'll be the show. And Artifact will never be as big as Hearthstone. Just won't. And that's cool. But there'll be an audience for it if it does well. And I'm sure it will. I'm sure it'll do very well. Because I think there's a lot of people that are a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more experienced, and are tired of Hearthstone, and they're gonna want to play Artifact. They're gonna want to venture out into something a little bit more mature. That's my. I think
it is kind of like that. I think it's kind of similar to when League lost a bunch of people to Dota 2. They're looking for a game to graduate to, kind of thing.
Yep.
And I would agree that that's probably what's going to happen with Artifact, is that people are going to want to graduate from Hearthstone onto Artifact. I keep seeing more and more people, especially when I play it on stream, right? Because then more people in the community that play Hearthstone a lot will come by, obviously, or I'll get random show up into the stream. And then the discussions that happen around that is that people just have been and are getting more and more tired of how RNG Hearthstone is. Everything feels like a dice roll in the worst way.
Well, it is.
And not
RNG,
like not in a satisfying way. Like there are ways that RNG can be satisfying and fun
for days.
But Hearthstone just seems to be literally built from the ground up on rolling a fucking dice or die. And
it's the same as playing RuneScape. Like when you're doing PvP in RuneScape, there is a level of skill that is required, but there is a cap to that skill. I mean, you can only physically can click so many times and be so efficient in your clicks. And then it boils down to the RNG on what the damage output is going to be on your attacks.
Yeah.
It's sort of the same thing with Hearthstone, where you get so good, and then it boils down to what card are you going to pull from your deck at what time. And if you just don't get the RNG, once you reach that cap, once both players are at the pinnacle and nobody's making mistakes and everyone knows when to play what card, all the things. They got the right decks, the right setups. It's just a matter of having that eclipse happen in order to win, and that's what it boils down to. The fun and the mistakes and things happen in the casual spot leading up to, you know, sort of getting really good. But once you get into like the grandmasters, the high grandmasters type shit, it's the same sort of deal. Unlike a game like StarCraft, where there is a cap in terms of game sense, but you can just be so much better than somebody else mechanically, that there isn't that wall, that skill cap wall. Same with League of Legends or Dota or any of these, where you get so fucking good that there isn't this element of luck, and that's ultimately why I don't like games like Hearthstone, is because it doesn't matter how good you get. I've never gotten to that point where you get so good that it does become a dice roll, but just the thought of that, it's a turnoff. And I
don't
love
like
the
a game
fact
of
that
chance at the
Artifact,
end.
you'll be able to buy. So with Hearthstone, you know, I won't even play the game anymore. I just won't play it. Like I like Hearthstone. I've had good time playing it. It's a great little casual game. I even played it on my cell phone for a while. It was like the only thing that I played on my cell phone when I was, you know, on a plane or whatever. And it's great. It's fun, but it's for somebody that's competitive. Why would I want to play a game that I have to go and spend hundreds of dollars opening packs to be competitive? And the reality of it is you need to have certain decks in certain ways. You have to have certain cards, or you're completely out of the meta. Not even in the point where it's like, oh, you know what? You know, I'm only going to lose an extra 15% of my games. It's like, you're going to get smashed. You're going to get to like level 15, and you're not going to get above level 15. And if you do, you'll win a game or two, and then you'll lose a bunch. You'll be right back into this little tiny pocket. And what's nice about Artifact is you'll be able to buy whatever you need. You're like, you know what?
I was going to say, yeah.
I want to, if I want to just come in and play the game, it's like, what's the meta? Okay, in Hearthstone, the last the first 3 years of cards are barely being played anymore. I don't even need to worry about those. I'm a new guy coming in. What do I need to get? All right, I need to get X amount of these taunts. I need to get X amount of this. There's 2 particular cards. Yeah, sure, one of them's going to cost me $10 on the marketplace. That's a tough pill to swallow. And maybe there's a legendary that costs $30. It's like, goddamn. But then you can also sell it when it becomes irrelevant, or you can collect it, and you don't have to open up a shit ton of packs and hope to go. And I'm sure that you'll still be able to open up packs and still go through that process of pulling great cards and having that fun. But if there's specific cards for specific metas that you need to go and pick up, you can do that. You can't do that with Hearthstone. You can enchant cards, but then you got to disenchant stuff, and it gives you fucking pussy dust. You know, you get nothing for
that
it.
callback.
The other interesting thing with Artifact, though, that I found was also deck size. You know, yes, deck size. It matters. Like, you can have larger decks, you can have smaller decks. You don't have to you're not restricted in like a cookie cutter Hearthstone deck where you have to have a fixed number of cards. Like, you have strategy around, if you have a larger deck, you have less chance of picking certain cards. And in Magic, that was a big deal too. You know, so I'm actually glad that that's making a comeback, especially for Artifact. With an open market and stuff, you can field smaller decks where you can do like burn or different types of strategies that you can't do in Hearthstone, because you're pretty much.
So it's really, we're gonna see some really interesting,
more true deck builder.
Yeah, we're gonna see some really interesting things come out of it, because when it comes down to, for example, like Jeff, as well. In terms of what Jeff was talking about, where in Hearthstone, if you need certain cards, your hopes are you either create them, which requires dust, which you get from disenchanting other cards, which requires cards in the first place, which you can get in certain ways, but your path is ultimately blocked hard without spending a fair chunk of change to get enough dust, especially when you're crafting legendary cards, for example. Mm-hmm. The flip side to that is, and somebody might say, for example, like if you were building magic decks in reality, that shit gets super expensive. Mm-hmm. But I guess, and I'm not an expert on card games or anything. I know that cards, like singles, can get super expensive. We've at least collected certain card games in the past. They get expensive as shit. Absolutely. But I think the difference here, if I thought, and I was thinking about it while Jeff was talking about his experience with Hearthstone, is that one, we're dealing with an online marketplace versus a physical marketplace. Now you can buy physical cards online on like eBay or something, but then what I would also urge people to maybe consider, or what I would think about anyway, is the fact that the quality of the card no longer comes into play. If you're not, you're not buying, or you're not getting an inflated price of a card because the card is more perfect in condition. You know what I mean? So it's not like
The
you
grading
have
goes away.
The grading goes away. It's unless Valve went full fucking batshit like they did
Like
with
factory new.
with their CS:GO skins.
Very possible. It's
And
very
had
possible.
and had actual, then you're fucked. Now you're really fucked. Unless people are selling you know what? And maybe
I like that
maybe
idea,
that's a
though.
solution, because then if you want to, you can just buy the crappier version if you don't give a
And
shit
use 'em. Yeah.
and use them.
But how cool would it be have like a factory?
You know what? Now that I've said that, and it's kind of coming, that's probably what's going to happen.
But you know what? That makes perfectly sense.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that'd be really great for people that are playing the game full time and or putting in a lot of hours, and they want to have a like factory sealed or whatever they want to call it, pristine, 95 plus grade, gold stamped, whatever the fuck they want to put on this shit.
They could just use like a similar
Too
10
far,
point
guys.
grade
Yeah,
or some
yeah,
shit.
they could.
Too
They could
far.
put like a 95 plus gold.
And it could just be
stamped.
random on whatever you
Yeah.
pull out of a pack. It's just fucking random.
But that'd be so dope to have a full deck of very high quality cards.
Well, because
So
that gives
when
you an
you're
even
playing
crazier
it-
end game.
Because when you're playing it, you can think of it as a skin, right?
Yeah.
You think of
Yeah,
it as a
exactly.
card skin, because
Yeah,
that's all
exactly.
it is. It's the card, but it's a skin
It's
on the
it's
card.
prestige.
Yeah,
Basically,
and-
it's
Like the
And that
gold
would be-
borders in Hearthstone. Like
Yes.
legendary
That'd be
border.
very,
Okay.
very cool. And how
Yes.
cool would it be too if the card that you're playing actually had wear and tear on it? So not just a name, but there is a crease up in the top corner. There
Too
is,
far, man. There's
you know,
going too
there-
far.
No, how cool? But that's cool. It'll give the card some sort of character. It makes it feel like your deck is different than the opponent against you, even though you're using the same card. I think that'd be very, very ingenious. And
it's not really hard to implement either.
Oh no,
because
No, it's the skin.
it's a data column in a database for your
Exactly.
card.
skin.
exactly.
I think that'd be very cool. And then, like, something that is a pristine, we'll say a pristine copy of a Drake. We'll call it like Water Drake. And
Then you'll have the streamers being like, "I'm only playing with the pristine cards, ruining them."
exactly like pristine deck or quest to pristine this or that. And then you can sell your crappier versions on the market for cheap and then upgrade to another one. Or if you pull a very expensive copy of a card, you can sell it on the market and then buy some lower tier ones and kind of fill out your deck through the profit of buying packs. It would, because some people won't care about having a pristine deck.
Then it
or
allows
whatever.
people to separate into columns of people who just want the cards so that they can play the meta,
Play it.
and people who want not only to play the meta but also have the best quality cards they can get their hands on as a collector. Because I think that's part of what's missing with Hearthstone, other than having gold everything, is that there's not as much of a collector vibe to it, which is a fairly good chunk of I would imagine most card game markets is chasing down having a really great collection. So to be able to merge those two worlds would be kind of nice, and it's easier to do digitally than it is to do it in the physical form. And then again, I would imagine it's always hard to tell until you unleash some shit to a free market. It's always hard to see how it's going to unfold. And there's going to have to be checks and balances in places to make sure people don't just go and buy up all the fucking cheap-ass versions of cards so that they can drive the price of it up and stuff like that. Like, they're going to have to make sure that it isn't abused, but I think...
Well, I think that the regular cards, it doesn't matter how many of them you buy. I think that there should be like a set standard price. They should probably put like, hey, if you've got a basic card or whatever, then it costs 50 cents or $1 or whatever.
Oh,
It's
you
gonna
mean
go by
being
the
sold
market.
by Valve itself, or do you want
No.
market only?
I think through the market only. So there should
Okay.
be, if there's a base, if there's, we're talking like borderline just regular ass cards, they can say, hey, this is the maximum that you can charge on the marketplace for this card. But then when you get into the epics and the legendaries, then you can go ahead and kind of name your
They
own
pretty
price
much they pretty much
whatever.
said the way the market is going to be structured, and this is important. They pretty much said commons will be there are going to be commons that are going to be just as powerful as legendaries and vice versa. It's just going to be based on rarity of the drop rates and stuff from stuff you get in the game.
Mm.
The market itself will determine the prices. So early on things are going to be cheap, but like if there's a card that's really useful and it's a common,
Yeah.
that price might be higher than a useless legendary.
Yeah, that makes
Just
sense.
the rarity difference won't
That makes
necessarily matter
sense.
in terms of usefulness in the meta. So if a
Yeah.
card becomes very useful in the meta, the price is going to go up. They don't want to limit that part of the market. They're just going to let that go. Valve is usually pretty hands off on that, especially like in CS:GO and all the others. They're like just people are trading what they want to trade
Okay, yeah. Well, I like that
because they
idea
get
then.
their cut
Yeah.
either way. So
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think that there'd be like a regular that would be as sought after.
he
as,
pretty much
say,
said like
legendary.
he's like I don't want like Gabe Newell when he was talking. This was the initial article like a couple of weeks ago. They're like, yeah, you can get a starter set. It's not going to be like Hearthstone where you just get random packs. There's going to be packs of cards
Like
you
they did with
buy.
Pokemon and stuff as well.
Yeah,
like the
he's
starter
like there
packs.
will be booster packs like a standard card game, but like you'll get a starter set which will have a basic set of cards. There's going to be commons that are going to be powerful. He's like, we don't want you to necessarily feel like you have to open 1 million packs to get good cards. But at the same time, you'll have the market to buy legendaries if you really want them, but you'll have perfectly serviceable decks from any spectrum of rarity. So like
Yeah.
it's like
that's cool.
no particular. They don't want to have any particular meta deck that requires like a single legendary.
I love an open marketplace for card games. I love it. And you know what? I'm getting excited talking about this game because I mean, who knows? I think it would be so dope if they did have levels of conditioning for each card for real collectors that really want to look through their binder and see their decks and see the quality of cards.
Yeah.
That would hook me in. Like that would just be like, damn.
Because we're collectors more than players, right? So
Hell
like,
yeah. That's what it's all about.
You want to have that full screen of cards on your monitor when you're looking at
that's
it.
That's what you want to see, right?
Because right now Hearthstone is all about opening those packs, right? You open up a pack, you hover over the back of them. Do I have the yellow one?
The
that pop
adrenaline
up?
rush.
Yes.
Here it's like, you open the cards, but not only do you care about what kind of level of cards you get, but then you also care about the quality of that card as well, which and that will make you want to inherently look at your decks more, look at your binder, look at what you have, go on the marketplace, see what they're trading for, waiting for high and low times to sell, actually thinking about selling it. Maybe I can sell this for an extra few bucks here, and then I can buy a few more packs, and maybe I'll pull something good out of this. It gives you this you're more attached to your cards than simply just the thought of or the experience of opening it, and that's it. It's like when we open up a card in Hearthstone, a pack in Hearthstone, I could open up 50 of them. Sure, it's fun. Look at it, it's like, ooh, legendary, ooh, it's and then you click on it, it's like, ooh, and you realize you've got 4 of them already. Or even if you get a new one and you're like, oh, I'm never going to use this, and then you don't care anymore. You just don't care. It's like you pull it, you get it, you never look at it again. You're like, this is fucking whatever. But if there's actually a reason for you to look at it again, that's going to be the big differentiator. And a lot of it, I think, a lot of card purists out there and enthusiasts are going to like latch on to that shit because they're going to go, holy shit, like pulling something means something. And not only does it mean something that I can use this card, but it actually has a value. I can go online right now and see how much holy shit, this thing is selling for $90. God damn, I'm a cuck and I don't work. I can make $90 right now. This is gonna be my fucking
Jeff,
McDonald's for the next 3 weeks. This is
you should
incredible.
Right after this podcast, open up an email, start writing, and just send it right on up to Gabe.
Yeah. Pay me, Gabe, motherfucker. Pay me. I'll fly out there and tell you how to make.
How to do a full card grading system.
Yeah,
that's cool though, right?
yeah,
It
no,
adds
I
a
agree,
level
yeah.
to it, man. That's like
Yeah.
I can see that working.
crazy. It feels like you're winning, right? It feels like you're
It
gambling.
encourages,
and that's what CS:GO
further
is all about, man.
Yeah, exactly. The CS:GO thing. That's where when I said that, I was like, wait a minute, CS:GO does that. They will probably do this in Artifact as well. I mean, it would be weird of them not to, I think.
100%.
100%. But doing that also encourages interaction with the marketplace, which is probably going to be very important for them because it's going to be a big draw for the game. And so the more interaction they can encourage on that marketplace is going to be the better for them. So yeah, I think there's a lot of upsides to it. And I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting to follow that game and its marketplace and see how that stuff is utilized. And how the market actually comes together. You know, what the prices of some of these things are going to be like. Short term, it's going to be bonkers.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Absolutely
if that game comes out
bonkers.
this year, I'm going full sell.
It is coming out this year.
Oh, it is.
I'm going to go full sellout on that game. I'm going to be like, yo, guys, I'm opening up 1,000 packs. I'm fucking... I'm gonna be selling shit. I'm gonna be going crazy. I'm gonna have 3 auto-tune machines. I'm gonna be going nutty.
Jeff's
buddy.
gonna use his 49-inch Samsung Ultra Wide no longer for crypto, but for the Artifact marketplace.
Artifacts, just nothing but marketplace, and I'm gonna see what's selling at what. And I'm gonna be doing massive giveaways, and hell, I might even make an Artifact Go site.
Artifact Shuffle.
Oh shit! I just came across this site earlier today, guys.
What?
You can press this button and you can get Artifact cards.
There you go. Go on now, sign up. Just gamble all you got those legendaries. Put those up for grabs. But we're gonna do a little roulette spin.
Yeah. We'll see how it all comes together, but
so
it'll be
before we jump into the next one,
sure.
Topic wise, did you watch? There was a surprise stream today from Co Carnage.
I haven't watched Co more than 3 times in my life.
He played the new BattleTech game for like 3 or 4 hours.
Oh, I did see him tweet, or somebody retweeted that he had tweeted about the fact that he was going to get his hands on that.
That game looks straight awesome.
And Jeff, that's like the one that's the
turn-based mech warrior.
Turn-based mech warrior, the top-down isometric one.
But it's it's got like a management game on top of it where you build out your entire mech lance, and then you do like mech commander like missions, only turn-based. It looks pretty cool. It's got like a crazy like PvP mode too.
Is he still streaming?
Go?
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah,
every day.
It's weird. It's weird because he's like one of the top guys, and then Fortnite came out, and all the top guys they don't. It's like they don't.
Code still gets his steady 10,000 a stream. He's just trucking along doing his thing.
Yeah, 10,000. It's like what's 10,000 these
days?
He's
doing his thing.
You're not fucking. You're not shit unless you got 100,000 viewers. Apparently,
what a plebeian with only 10,000 concurrent.
10,000. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
But that game's coming out at the end of April, and I might have to take some time off for it.
Yeah, it does look good. It definitely does look
fucking mechs.
Does look good. Yeah, mechs are awesome, man. I fucking love mechs. Just a couple of quick little pointers before we jump into our movie and TV stuff. No Man's Sky is coming to Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. They're doing with full 4K support and all of the expansions, and then they also announced another big free update is coming in the summertime to further build onto the game, and that's going to just be given to everyone. Far Cry 5. I haven't played it. I've watched a fair amount of it because everyone in my circle has been streaming it. So I've seen bits and pieces of it. I don't know if you gentlemen have played or seen much of it, but I just wanted to see what your thoughts, if you have, what your thoughts. Your first impressions have been.
I'm hesitant about it because I've been burned. Far Cry 4 was bad. Far Cry 3 was pretty good, but got old. But at the same time, I've watched people play it, and it actually looks pretty tight. So maybe I'll pick it up. Maybe not. But at the same time, I'm actually pleasantly surprised that it's doing as well as it did. Ubisoft's kind of buckling down, so it's a good sign.
Have you seen much of it, Jeff?
I didn't see much. I mean, I may have watched like 15 minutes of gameplay, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. It's just the last one sucked ass, and the one before that was great. but the last one sucked. It's like what happened with me with Assassin's Creed. It's like I was all over Assassin's Creed. Just these games are great, and then there was one shit fucking Assassin's Creed that was just an obvious rush just to make money real quick, and I never played it ever since. Never picked one up. I don't care. There could have been the second coming of Christ for Assassin's Creed on Assassin's Creed 50. I have no idea. Don't care.
Fool me once.
Yeah, exactly. It was just it was just so shit, and that's what I thought about Far Cry 4.
Yeah,
where it's just like, this is just garbage. It's garbage.
It was a rehash that was done poorly, and it wasn't. I was just like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean, my thoughts are similar. You know, I played 3 to completion, and what made 3 great was Voss, right? Who was the character that accidentally became a focal point of the game, because I think, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before, probably, but it would have been like in the first couple somehow. You know, originally he was not meant to be a major character at all. Mm-hmm. And then when the voice actor went into the booth and did his thing, the guys were like, holy shit.
Yeah, he absolutely nailed it.
This guy is better than our other guy. We should probably focus more on this guy, and wrote major sections of the game in for Voss at that point. And he really made the game. As soon as Voss was no longer the focal point of Far Cry 3, the game wasn't nearly as good from a story perspective as it was when he was involved. And then 4 came along, and as soon as I saw the first trailer for 4. My immediate thought was, holy crap, all they're trying to do is recreate Voss. But this time...
They had that weird one in the middle, didn't they? Like the Miami Vice, Hotline Miami, weird retro-y.
Oh, Blood Dragon? No, that game was actually fire. That was oh yeah, that was fire.
That looks like stupid as fuck.
In fact, it was probably, you know, it wasn't, it had the Far Cry name, but it was like a pet project for fun on the side. It wasn't like an actual serious extension of Far Cry.
You could tell by the design.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty obvious. If you looked at Far Cry Blood Dragon and thought, "Oh, I'm getting an extension of Far Cry 3's main story," then you were high. But which honestly, playing Far Cry Blood Dragon, being high might have been, you know, a benefit to you. But no. So 4 was the most blatant attempt at trying to recreate Voss, but make him the entire game now, or he's the bad guy for like the whole game. And then when I played 4, I realized very quickly that I was basically just playing Far Cry 3, except instead of in 3 there was an animal, tigers, in 3, just show up out of nowhere. You could just be walking through an open field. There's nothing around you. You stop for 2 seconds to look and tag some enemies. All of a sudden, 5 tigers just appear behind you and are just fucking like Chris Angel themselves into the background, and then you're fucked. And you got to spend and you're right next to the enemy base trying to be stealthy, but now you got to kill 5 tigers, which you don't do particularly easy without making a lot of noise.
It's not quiet.
No, and then you got to deal with the fact that, you know, you just set off the base and you no longer do your stealth mission. You're like, well, fuck, and that was annoying, but, you know, it was whatever. Far Cry 4 comes along and says, all right, what if we do that, but now it's eagles? And it was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. You'd be walking through the woods, getting close to a village, and you'd hear screams. NPCs screaming in the background. Eagles! And they'd scream eagles. And you'd look and there'd be eagles dive bombing villagers and then picking them up off the ground and like ragdolling villagers. And I was sitting there going, what fucking worlds am I in right now? This is crazy. But they've always had this thing with animals, so it was whatever. But it just seems so stupid. And it was kind of like, so in 3 it was a serious tone pretty much the whole way. Then 4 came around and it was like serious, but you know, then there was, you know, they were being jokey with game mechanics and stuff, and the eagle thing was dumb and whatever. And then now in 5 they've just gone full Saints Row. It's like we went from Grand Theft Auto, you know, 4 to Saints Row 3 in one fucking game in the series. And it's this weird tonal shift that doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then the other thing is that I'm concerned about is, you know, although I guess it's less of a problem in 5 than it was in 4, is that in 4 The story arc was almost identical to 3. You even had a mission where you burned down a field full of drugs. It is the same mission in both games. In one game, it was weed, and the other game was opium. And at that point, that's when I stopped 4. I said, all right, I'm just playing Far Cry 3, so I'm just going to stop playing Far Cry 4 now and not give it any more of my time because it's the same fucking game. And if I've asked that of some people, I said, is there a fucking mission in Far Cry 5 where you burn down a field of drugs? Because I swear to fuck, if they've done this for 3 games now, I'm going to be friggin' salty about that shit. And they've done weird things with it too, where they're like, oh, we're going to be clever in Far Cry 4, and if you just sit there in the beginning of the game ends in 10 minutes. The guy comes back, game is over. And it's like, oh, okay, that was cute. You know, it was like an Easter egg thing. But now it's like a marketable point where they're like, hey guys, guess what? You can do that in Far Cry 5! You can end it in 15 minutes! And it's just like, oh, and you can have bears follow you around instead of, you know, whatever else, and it's like a circus of value, and it's just this weird... I don't know what tone they're going for anymore. It's just so odd, and all it ends up for me is it might be a fun game, and it's obviously a pretty game. Like if you've seen streams of it, you know, people playing it maxed out, the game is a good looking game, but it just like for me, Far Cry, you know, needs to be, or I want it to be a little bit more serious. Because it feels disjointed when it's trying to add all this extra humor. So I don't know. I'm not sold on Far Cry 5. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews. I've seen people be like, this is a fucking awesome game.
I've heard fairly good things.
And then I've heard people go, this is terrible. So I don't know. It's a hard thing to say. I think we're gonna have to wait a little longer for people to play it a little bit more, and then kind of get a feel for it. But I've definitely heard good things. But the things I hear that are good about it aren't necessarily things that I would have attached to Far Cry, I guess, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's a bit of a circus. But I hope people are enjoying themselves playing it. You know, go and enjoy your True Detective Season 1 ripoff storyline of your single player campaign, and go tame some bears. That's good. Hey Jeff.
Yep.
Hit me up with a little jingle for TV and movies.
Movies, TV.
We gotta find out why your microphone started sounding like ass in the last couple of weeks. Doesn't make any sense. On your stream, it's fine, but on Discord,
really,
it sounds absolutely awful. Yeah, and I have no idea why. I thought it was a fluke last week, but now it's the same thing this week. So I don't know. We'll sort something out. Ready Player One. Talk about mixed reviews. Have you guys watched any reviews for that or anything so far?
I've heard almost all positive.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything negative about it.
I haven't heard anything really mixed. Every reviewer I've respect and listened to, it's either they loved it or they really, really liked it. Like,
okay.
So I haven't heard.
I guess what I'm seeing is I've seen less critic review and more people who were fans of the which is probably a bad place to go, I suppose, to a degree, where people who were like into the book stuff, weren't particularly pleased with the handling of it. I'm sure it's a very fun movie to watch, but that was probably that was where there was some disconnect. It's like people like really enjoyed like it as a spectacle, but as like an actual extension of the source material, it was a bit hit or miss in that regard.
I hear it's just Steven Spielberg back to form, and it's
that's great news.
Yeah, I'm going to see it tomorrow, so
nice.
I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. What time are you going?
Not till a late show.
Okay.
I'm going to stream all day and then.
Okay.
Do you require friendship in person?
Well, I was gonna say I might piggyback if you got no one else going with you.
Yeah, if you want.
Yeah, because tomorrow I don't have too much going on after I run to the accountant, so that'll give us something else to talk about too, because I'll have actually seen a movie.
Seen Pacific Rim.
Yeah, I saw Pacific Rim.
Oh, what were your thoughts on that? It's a lot of thinking.
I'm trying to. I didn't like it as much as the first one.
I'm gonna say it was warm garbage.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I don't think I can put the I don't think I could say garbage. I don't think I could put that in there, but basically, I left the theater not hating it. I am looking forward to seeing a third one. It's obvious there's going to be another one. Um, there is a
Guillermo
character
back.
in the movie that I absolutely hated, completely. That every single time he opened his mouth, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Okay. Was
So
that
I
because
just
it was
didn't.
bad acting, or was it a well-written character that was made to be hated?
No, it was poorly written character that was meant to be hated.
Oh, okay.
So, it's just
Okay.
I just didn't like that arc. Um, but it was okay. The best way I could put it is it is basically the Power Rangers movie that I wanted. That's pretty much it. If Power Rangers, if this was Power Rangers, I'd be like, fuck yes. Yeah.
But
I
it's
would agree
Pacific
with that,
Rim.
but I think this wasn't Pacific Rim to me, and that's why I
No.
thought it was a little bit garbage.
No, but it was basically Power
The
Rangers.
color palette was too bright. It didn't have like the darkness and the grittiness of the original, which is okay. It didn't have the meticulousness. I might have had an extra ness in there of the first one. Like every shot was kind of well put together. I felt like this one was lacking more in like the cinematography. Everything was a little bit less than the first one.
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's a low key burn. It's the Power Rangers we wanted.
Essentially, I mean, it's like if it was a Power Rangers movie, it would have been
Aces.
a great Power Rangers movie. I'd have been like, you know
Right.
what, that was fun. That was a
Right.
fun Power Rangers movie, and the way it's set up, where it's we already know the kaiju and we already know the Jaegers and we already know that, so that part we already got. We knew we were getting big ass robots fighting monsters. We knew that shit was going down. And there's plenty of that in the movie. And some of the scenes are great. Kayla really liked the movie. She left walking out of the IMAX going, wow, that was good. Right. So, she really enjoyed it. But she's also not a movie buff like me where I hold movies to certain standards. She's the
Yeah, sure.
casual moviegoer
Evaluated super
that they aren't going to, disappoint. Right. You want to go and see that, you're going to enjoy it. But I think for a little bit more, I don't want to say sophisticated moviegoers, but ones that hold
Ones who
things to
care
a certain
more.
level of standard, especially after how great the first movie was and how much of a surprise it was. This was definitely a notch down. You could tell. We didn't get the same director. You could tell that. Our lead was great. John Boyega, he was great. I liked him. He had a couple of lines where I was like, why did he say that? But he was great. And but it was basically a Power Rangers movie. We knew what the Jaeger and shit was, but we got new characters. You kind of you see where they come from. One guy's in a rough. He's in trouble with the law and shit, and another one is like a reject and an out
Typical
you got all these
archetypes.
That's literally it. You
Yeah.
got the smarty one that can build things, and they're very good with these.
I played
things.
with Lego when I was 5.
And then you've got like the hard ass, and you've got
It was
like
a Lego ensemble of characters that they put together.
it literally is, and it's just like, okay, I get it, and it's cool to see the come up. I found that some of the characters looked a little too young. I don't know if it's that I'm getting older, but I just felt like some of the kids that are in training here, they just seem like kids, like actual kids, and it was just, I wanted it to be them, maybe not look like they're 12. I don't need them to be my age. It's okay to be 17 or 18 years old, but look the age. They look like kids, and it just the more I think about it now, the more salty I'm getting. But
Which is rare because in Hollywood, normally, if you're playing an
Usually they look
18-year-old, you're like 46.
Yeah, this was not the case. They just looked so young, and I was just like, why? Why am I watching kids play in these things? And I realized, like, okay, well, it's probably the demographic that are a lot of them that are watching this movie, and they're going to sell toys to, and all this other fun shit. So, it was a Power Rangers movie. It was them learning. You see them train, and then they go out in the real world and they fight big fucking monsters and shit. It was Power Rangers. but better than Power Rangers. That's what it was. So it was okay. I enjoyed it.
For better or worse, Power Rangers.
Power Rangers. If I had to give it a score out of 10, I would.
Power Rangers out of 10.
I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for it
Okay.
being a Pacific Rim movie. I would have given it a 9.5 to be a Power Rangers movie.
Okay.
I would go with a 5 out of 10 as just a general movie, even Pacific Rim. I would probably move it up to a 7 or 8 if it was a Power Rangers movie.
Damn.
Okay.
I mean,
That's
what more do you want from a
savage.
Power Rangers movie? Like Jesus. Like it was that because what I thought about when I was watching this, I couldn't stop thinking about Power Rangers.
It had that
Is-
awkward campiness level though. It wasn't like the Power Rangers level of camp.
Yeah, but the actual
Like, you
Power
could
Rangers
tell
movie
they were
that we
trying
got,
too hard.
it was
Yeah.
cheesy,
Yep.
which is what Power Rangers is. But we're going to Hollywood here. It's a big budget thing. We can kind of spice it up here a little bit. And I think that Pacific Rim here would have done that enough as Power Rangers, where there was a bit more of mature themes. There was no like sex or anything in the film. There was a little bit of some romantic stuff, but it wasn't really. So it would have been appropriate for Power Rangers. The fighting, the actual Jaegers and the kaiju fighting was phenomenal. I mean, that was way better than Power Rangers on another level. So that was very, very cool. And just the way that they worked as a team and the training, I thought was a little bit better.
I think that's where my disagreement with you is. I actually didn't think the Jaeger fights were well done. I just didn't think they were that good overall compared to say the first one even. Like the weapons looked like they were visually pleasing and everything, but like they were weirdly ineffective at times, and it's kind of like for plot reasons they started working in weird ways. So like I felt like it wasn't as weighty or heavy. Like in the first movie when like the Jaeger was fighting the kaiju, like you understood the scale of what you were witnessing. In this one I didn't quite feel it there.
I can agree with that to an extent. I mean, you got two totally different directors, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, that's where I think it came in.
Yeah, but I mean, for a Pacific Rim movie, and here's the thing: is they're not even catering to us. They want
to bring in more people.
The Chinese market is where this movie made all its money. We wouldn't even have a Pacific Rim 2 if it wasn't for China, and China is heavily in this movie. I mean, it's almost like I was watching a Chinese Hollywood film, and I felt like I'm in China watching the Avengers, right? Where it's like it's for us, the North Americans, but it's being shown in China. It felt like the opposite here. I was watching a Chinese film, and there's a lot of there's a lot of subtitles in this. There's a lot of it's very, very Asian, and which is cool. But it wasn't really the cool Asian either. It was kind of like American Asian. So it's just like,
we have
anyway,
we have far more pressing matters here, ladies. All right.
I also saw Tomb Raider.
Okay. So what's your brief summary of Tomb Raider?
I left it not hating it, and looking forward to the next one. We'll put it that way.
So like a 7? Are we a 7 or a 6?
I'll push it. I'll be honest. I like Pacific Rim a little bit more.
So 6.5.
Oh, but then there's parts of this that I like more with specific. I'm going 6.8.
Oh, all right.
6.8.
So
you know what?
Perfectly, we got it.
It was one of the better video game movie adaptations.
Okay, that's good.
It was a fun adventure movie where you're kind of exploring. I like that, where I was seeing I felt like I was on this journey with her, and that was cool, but it was predictable as all fuck. I mean,
how did you feel about Alicia Vikander in the role?
I thought I was gonna hate it. I think she's more of a Lara Croft than what Angelina Jolie is.
Oh, definitely.
But there is part of the fun that Angelina brought that she doesn't bring.
Well,
for
it's a
obvious
difference.
reasons.
That's a
There's
difference
two
between
totally
sexy
different types
versus
of-
girl next door, right?
Yeah, but you know what? It was actually a lot of girl next door, and
Yeah.
and when I
feel
think
like
about it, she plays a really good Laura Croft. I don't know. Maybe on the next one she'll come off a little bit more.
Well, maybe that's how her character's going to change, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Like, you know,
Yeah.
she starts off not wanting to be this part of the Croft, and then she ends up becoming the Croft we know. And she finds out who she really is and who her father is and all this other stuff, which
Had the
was
video
cool.
game Croft never come out, I would have liked the Alicia Vikander one a lot more. I think the new
Yeah,
video
see, I never
game
played the
one kinda
video
ruined it
game,
for me.
so I never played the video game. So
They're
you know,
so
this
good.
is sort of a new version for me. I mean, I saw
Yeah.
lots of posters and things like that.
But the
But,
new video game Lara Croft is like when they reimagined it, I'm like, this is like the perfect reboot version of a character I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Really well done. And it
Yeah,
kinda
the movie
ruined
didn't
the
suck.
Alicia Vikander one for me.
Well, that's great.
There was times where it almost felt like she was a little bit too superhero like, where
Mm.
a lot of she's jumping and you know she's literally the physics just does not allow this to happen. Where you're just like you're
Well,
not.
she's still Laura
Your
Croft.
arm
You know,
should
you
be-
get.
Yeah, but I
guess
mean,
you
she
gotta-
doesn't have superpowers or
Yeah,
superhuman strength,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, some of it was just ridiculous. I mean, I can take some of the disbelief where she's falling through trees and you know falling down whatever and
She's
not
fine.
dying, and barely even being cut up. But when you are jumping from like one side of my basement to the other side of my basement, you're going, you know, what the fuck? What in the fuck
That's
are
a
you
stretch.
like? You know, a stretch, and this has happened multiple times, where I'm like, okay, this is a little weird, but beyond that, not bad. .jpg.
Well, that's good. Well, hopefully it makes enough money to go for number 2, so that they get a chance to
I think we'll
evolve
see
the
another one.
character. Yeah, evolve the character. John Cena wants to team up with The Rock in a Fast and the Furious movie. Quick thoughts on that bad boy, if it happened, and yay or nay on that.
I would too if I was John Cena.
It'd be fun to watch, but I don't know.
What if
Man.
Cena was in the movie, the spin-off with Rock, instead of an actual like hardline Fast
That
and
would
the
be more
Furious?
interesting. I'd rather watch that. I don't necessarily want them adding too many crazy people into Fast and Furious.
Yeah,
franchise.
the spinoff, the Hobbs spinoff would be a good one because I know the Hobbs spinoff, the one that he's doing, it's his like sort of origin story where he like breaks out of prison and shit. So it'd be cool if Cena was, you know, in prison and was one of the guys in there. You know, I'm gonna call it out now. I think John Cena is going to be a megastar
He's
in
doing
the
Duke
movies in the next couple of years.
Was
I
doing
think.
Duke Nukem,
now.
so how much better can you get?
Oh, is he?
He's
Yeah,
that's
he's
that's
the Duke.
locked in now. He is Duke Nukem. They're just waiting for a script to be written now.
There you go.
Yeah.
I really believe this. I think John Cena is going to be. He's going to have a rise like The Rock did in Hollywood.
Dude, he's got some
And,
sick comedic timing though.
Oh, he's a funny guy, man.
He's
and
hilarious.
he's got that comedy coming out. Like I think it's today or it's either today or next week. But he is a funny guy, and he can act. He can actually act. So we'll see what happens. I think John Cena, and he loves to do movies. He's always been doing
Oh yeah,
movies
he
for
enjoys
years.
it. Yeah.
Most of it was just B bullshit, you know, WWE type stuff. But over the past few years, you know, Trainwreck and
He's been doing his cameos.
I
and
think
stuff
the
too.
other guys, I don't know what the one
No,
of
he
these
was in the Daddy's Home one. or
Daddy's
whichever.
Home. That's what it is. Daddy's
Is the
Home too.
The other guys was
Yeah.
The Rock. Was
Yeah.
in the first part of that. Aim for the
Yeah.
bushes.
So you know he's coming out with more and more stuff. I
watched
think
that
we're
the
going to
other
see
day.
more John Cena. As for this Hobbs thing or potential for Fast and the Furious, I'm going to go and say, yeah, why not? I mean, John Cena hasn't pissed me
What
off
about
in the
John
least
Cena
bit.
as
I
a
mean,
villain.
he's a likable guy.
Mhm.
He does a lot of charity work. He's a super nice guy. He has like
Yeah.
the most Make-A-Wish
Out of anyone.
things out of anybody.
Yep.
The guy is a good dude. He's funny, and why not? But I would like to see him play something that isn't the tough,
The all-American John Cena.
the tough comedic guy, or the hey, I'm a really big but I'm actually a wimp. You know, I'd want to see him do a serious
villain.
role in this, like maybe be against The Rock, like, you know.
Yeah, so with Panic saying, be a villain.
Yeah, be a villain. I like that. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Dark side of John Cena.
I'm all for John Cena. I can't stand him as a wrestler only because he was at the top for so long in the most annoying way possible. That's the only reason I can't stand the guy. But
him, man.
but
He doesn't write anything.
No,
right?
I don't know.
He's
Of course not. I mean, I'm not. I don't actually hate him. I think he's a fucking amazing individual. He's basically the white version of The Rock for all intents and purposes. The work ethic is basically the same as The Rock's. His dedication to whatever he's doing is absolutely insane. And yeah, he's got mad skill. I mean, he's just another one of those superhuman motherfuckers that you just got to look at and go, all right, well, I'm never going to be as awesome as you, so fuck yourself. And then you watch everything that they do because they're awesome. Okay. No, I don't have a segue for this, but there is a segue from this into the next one. Mr. Black, word on the street is, okay, you woke up and you had an epiphany. You rolled over, maybe you got to your phone, maybe you were fumbling for your phone, and as you were fumbling for it, maybe you were like, man, I wish I just had force powers to get the phone. Oh wait, I hate episode 8.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? I thought we were on the same page.
You just came to this now. Yeah, Jeff moved from your team to he's on my team now.
Yeah, I had okay. So I was what was I doing? I was watching. So the DVD or the Blu-ray came out for The Last Jedi, and it's got all of the deleted scenes. There's like 14 of them, and it's got the documentary, like behind the scenes shit where you can see them filming it and they're talking about all this stuff. Like it's a good watch. I didn't watch all of it yet, but I watched several clips, and then I had I watch I watched The Breakfast Crew. I watch a bunch of different podcasts and radio shows and stuff like that. I don't know why I started, but for like the last 6 months is all I do. And Mark Hamill was being interviewed, and it was like a 30-minute interview. And I hadn't been thinking about The Last Jedi for a hot minute. And in the back of my mind, I knew the Blu-ray was coming, and I wanted to see sort of the full version of the movie. And I like behind-the-scenes shit on films anyway. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check this stuff out. So I listened to Mark Hamill, and Mark Hamill's just a fucking awesome guy.
Mark Hamill's a god. He's an absolute god. A
fucking awesome dude. He's
so interesting.
He's one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. Not in relevancy in terms of like, you know, what's hot. But if you ask anybody in Hollywood who Mark Hamill is, they're going to know who he is, and chances are they're going to respect the living shit out of him. They're like, man, that's fucking Luke Skywalker, that's the Joker, right? Don't fuck with either of them.
And they also just know that he's an amazing person.
And he's just a great guy, right? So I go on a little bit of a Mark Hamill binge, and I'm going and listening to basically every interview that he's done in the last, since leading up to The Last Jedi. And then I go and I watch this little documentary of him, and you should watch this. You can find clips of it on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Of him behind the scenes, and him and Rian Johnson, who ultimately killed Star Wars. Mm-hmm. He is in the back, and they're talking, and the cameras are off, so they're off. Cameras are going on, and they're talking about the scene and all this other stuff, and Mark is narrating this. And what I love so much about this documentary is he was able to say whatever the fuck he wanted. When you're on press tour, you can't. I mean, even Mark in a lot of things,
he was backdooring shit like crazy, like some fire.
He would take a lot of snubs at episode 7 for him not having a talking role. And then in episode 8,
Yeah.
he was talking about how he just fundamentally disagrees with everything Rian Johnson is doing with his character. And he was just like, I mean,
And not just his character, like other characters too, and the interactions.
I understand, but he was, this guy, he's Luke Skywalker, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you're walking around as Luke Skywalker for like 40 years or whatever.
Luke Skywalker.
30 years or however long it's been. And then you have these old movies, and everyone, Star Wars is a religion, and you're thinking in your mind how this plays out for Luke Skywalker, and will we ever get to see what happens with him? And you've kind of visualized this, and he talks about this where you kind of have to come up with your own version of what it is, and when he read the script, he absolutely fucking hated it, and the way he was describing it, you could hear the heartbreak. Like, I mean,
you can see when he talked about it in interviews.
We're talking, dude. There's footage of him like crying, in the documentary on him on set, crying, like he is absolutely
fanboy,
destroyed. Like, we're talking, it was like watching Rian Johnson just take everything you love and just fuck it for no good reason.
Mark Hamill built a sandcastle on a beach, and Rian Johnson came over and kicked that motherfucking sandcastle over.
That's what it was. And then Rian Johnson stood over you as you were crying and told you that and then pissed on you, and then told you that you shouldn't be upset. Essentially, this is the way. Trust the way. And Rian Johnson even says it in the documentary. He says, like, even still to this day, he doesn't agree with it, but he thanks Mark Hamill, because Mark Hamill did the best that in his what Rian Johnson was trying to bring to light. So no matter how much Mark Hamill hated everything that he was doing with the character, he still gave it his all, and he did it. But what I loved about what Mark Hamill says in the documentary, he says, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically says, you know what? I don't fundamentally agree with anything that he's doing, but I'm going to give it everything I got to realize his vision. But if it doesn't work and it's hated, it's all of his fault. And, and if it does work, then, he basically says, if this kicks ass, it's because I'm going to make it kick ass. But then if it sucks ass, it's Rian Johnson's fault. And I was like, sucked ass.
He's not wrong.
And you're not wrong.
No.
And dude, I was seeing the YouTube comments, man, and everyone was just, and that was when I just realized that I hated the movie. That was when, because I hated it not only because of how Mark Hamill felt about it, but I also hated it because I really thought about it and it's fine to give spoilers now. If you didn't see Star Wars Episode 8, you're not even a fan at this point. But to go from such an emotional climax at the end of Episode 7, where we're all kind of waiting for Mark Hamill to show up, Luke Skywalker to show up. But then when she goes on this island, and there he is, in the fucking gray cloak on this island, secluded. We haven't seen this character in forever. The epic score in the background, the serious face, everything's hitting the fan.
Wait, I got you, Jeff. Wait. I got you. Here's the start of Episode 8.
Yeah. And then he throws the lightsaber like it's fucking, like it means nothing. And it's it's done in a way that it's like, it's supposed to be funny. It was like watching a shitty Marvel joke that doesn't land.
Humor. Remember I talked about this when we first talked about the movie? It was shitty fucking Disney humor.
Yeah, but you know what? But you know what? I'm not even gonna blame Disney. I'm blaming Rian Johnson. Like, fuck Ryan. You know what? And you know what? Fuck Disney for approving it too. Like, fuck Disney for saying, yeah, this is okay. But it's retarded. And the thing that I don't like about it the most is that everybody is writing their own Star Wars. So JJ writes Episode 7, and he sets up for Episode 8. But JJ doesn't work on Episode 8, and Rian Johnson wants to do something completely different. But yet we're sitting here on this island, and it's epic. Now imagine if JJ Abrams wrote Episode 8. Do you really think that Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, is gonna get that lightsaber and toss it over his shoulder like a fucking cuck?
No.
And have it mean absolutely nothing?
No.
And it felt like Rian Johnson wanted to just do something completely different and turn everything upside down for the sake of turning everything upside down. And it's okay that you do that. But when you take a character that is beloved that much, and it's Luke fucking Skywalker, and you turn him into some emo fucking hate the world. Luke Skywalker is all about hope and
green titty milk
and love and the light and the good, and it's okay that you're twisting it and going into parts of the dark side and you're lost and you want to be part of the gray and fucking you want the Jedi to end. Sure, I get it. I get that arc. It's great, cool, wonderful. But to do what he did and then fucking kill him off, it pisses me off beyond. And then when I think about it, he didn't even get to have a last scene with fucking Han Solo. And that shit pisses me off as well. And I'm just, the way they just killed Luke Skywalker, I feel for Mark Hamill, and I absolutely hate episode 8. It's got 2 really great scenes in it, but beyond that, the only thing, the saving grace for episode 8 for me now, because I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to watch the movie again this weekend. I'm going to watch it again. I'm probably going to hate it even more, but I'm going to watch it. Is the best part of episode 8 and this trilogy as a whole, because I loved 7 and then I went into 8 going I left not excited for 9. Now I leave hating it after seeing what happened with Mark Hamill, and I'm really thinking about it, and I'm like, I'm stewing. So the saving grace of this damn series, this trilogy, is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is a great, Adam Driver's a great actor. Kylo Ren's a great character, and he's got a good arc, and he's got that level of emo and or immaturity and angstiness, but also the he's badass enough, and he's flirting with the good and the evil, and he's conflicted. He is the only saving grace for me in this entire trilogy, because if it wasn't for him, I would be I'd be done. I digress.
I know, dude, I feel so vindicated right now because you just regurgitated everything I said in that initial podcast when we talked about this movie, and I was getting shit on by both of you the whole time, and now I just feel I feel clean.
We didn't
I feel so,
shit on you.
I
We
feel
disagreed with you.
I feel so fresh and so clean. I just,
you should.
because
I've joined the dark side.
You've joined the dark side now. I mean, well, I don't even think it's the dark side. I think it's the light side, motherfucker. I think the dark side is accepting what that movie was and being like, yeah, that was good, because then you just get more of that shit. And it was shit. It was really, truly shit. I mean, like, and that what you just said bothered me a lot too. Was not necessarily because as a movie watcher, it's whatever. I feel really and truly bad for Mark Hamill. Imagine the amount of time spent in that character for Mark Hamill, and to know it as intimately as he did, because he's the consummate fucking professional, as we just also discussed, where even though he hated everything, he fucking did the best that he could with what he was given anyway.
Mm-hmm.
To have all of that and attach to it and have fans for multiple decades, and then to come up with shit like he's not at Han's death, he doesn't say a single fucking word in the whole thing, and then even then, where you could have saved it, because the entire purpose of that last ending scene in 7 was to build up that first interaction between Rey and Luke fucking Skywalker. And the first thing he does is sissy bitch Disney joke throw his lightsaber over the shoulder and just fuck off and pull some weird late 90s, early 2000s emo shit. Yeah. Like I'm listening to bad garage band music.
Alien semen. He's got like fucking blue semen coming out of his mouth
milk.
And shit.
Oh, milk, bro.
Just like fucking blue semen milk. It's like, who the fuck?
Fuck.
Like, fuck you, Rian Johnson. Fuck you, man.
And there were just parts of it from an arc that I was like, yes, I'm on board with, but then the execution was so shit that it made me hurt. And then you find out about the things that Mark ad-libbed to try and add some fucking soul to the Luke Skywalker character at the end. The stuff like the wink at 3PO towards the end. The shit like the little jab at R2D2 when he pulled out the shit. Like just this little stuff that, and when I watched it, that was what I thought when in the theater. I was like, I felt like I went back watching the first movie. I was like, I was seeing old Luke, and he killed it so fucking hard by just adding these little things. And then to see just the pomp and circumstance of fuckery that Rian Johnson just built around it was just, it angered me so much. And I talked about other things before, like the scene given away to Carrie Fisher's daughter, bless her heart. We're gonna make like the most epic scene in the entire fucking movie off on a character that we built up and destroyed in the span of 35 minutes. Fuck it. Why not?
Admiral Akbar.
Not Admiral Akbar. Who the fuck cares about that guy? He's not an iconic character in any capacity.
Him yelling, "It's a trap!" as soon as he
just such a
There's so much wasted opportunity.
It would have been a better moment. When the guy in the bridge, he looks at him. He's like, he turns and looks at him. He's like, "What is that?" And it cuts to Admiral Akbar. It goes, "It's a trap." And then it cuts to silence.
If I was Admiral Akbar and I was on set, I would have just broke. I would have just ran over into the frame and just said that shit. And at the very least, it would have made the fucking director's cut or some shit behind the scenes, and we would have laughed about it. At the very least, he couldn't even give us that. I mean, holy shit. The only like emotional part of that entire movie is when Mark Hamill goes up to Carrie Fisher and they have a moment and you're going, this is Star Wars. Yes, this is how these characters should be just given out.
And even that was fucking ad-libbed.
Oh, God, fuck me, dude. Couldn't get any of that with Han. Couldn't get that with Chewie. Couldn't get that with anybody. It's fucked.
Hey, remember that awkwardly forced romance? That was fun.
Oh my God.
But save the animals while we're at it and fuck gambling.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just like,
yo, fuck all the slave children's at the casino.
Who cares
Save the
about
horses.
That?
Or whatever the fuck they are. Fuck the kids.
No, who cares?
Take the horses. Oh my God, dude. It is, the more I think about it, the more I hate it. And it just makes me, it just irritates me beyond. And it was today that I realized that and it didn't take much realizing. It just took me to just look into it a little bit more.
I'm so happy you're with me now.
Subconsciously, it's like a really bad sex session, like a really bad one night stand. Where you're like, where you go in and you semi-smash, or you can't get it up, or it's just bad, or the fucking cooch stinks, or I don't know what the fuck. And then the next day, you just like you just subconsciously bury it in a part of your brain that you only unlock when a tragic, like when something traumatizing happens, or you know, when you were smashing or semi-smashing, or something reminds you of the smelly
it unlocks
cooch,
the memory,
and it unlocks that little cabinet in the back of your fucking head. That's what happened today when I listened to Mark Hamill in an interview, and I listened to him still pouring out his soul and his heart, just so sad and just distraught and beaten that his beloved character, not only his but the entire world, loved the hope.
And you can't go back on it.
And no,
it's a mainline movie. It's done. His character is done.
It's done. It's over. It's all
How
over now.
How fucking depressing is that?
It's over. It's over.
How
all
depressing
that shit.
Is that?
You know, that all this bullshit about erasing the past and let it die. Fuck you, Rian Johnson. Fuck you. I don't want to let it die. I don't want to forget the past. I want to forget episode 8. I'm actually, I can honestly say this. Episode 8 is better than episode 2 and 3, but episode 1 beats episode 8.
I'm okay with that.
I want pod racers back. That's how fucking shit this shit. I want pod racers.
Think about what the shittiest part of episode 1 was that people complained about. It was the midichlorians. That was the hot topic in episode 1. Full stop. Think about the myriad of shit that episode 8 brought with it.
God.
And
Watching
that's
Princess
including the fact that they got to lean on the original fucking cast, and they still got that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Fucking, what's up with the weird Mary Poppins shit that fucking Leia was doing?
Oh, the Force just brought her back. She was a god.
Weird, man. It's just, the more I think about it, it's just weird. It's all just very, very weird. Now, there was some good stuff in the movie. There was some stuff that I enjoyed. There was some.
Am I still alone with the water thing? Am I still alone in that one?
I didn't mind it. Like I get it. I'm
okay.
I'm not
okay
super
being
mad
alone on
about
that.
it. It was like, we go through all this, we get episode 7, and then it's like we still get no answers. Like, oh yeah, guess what? Well, we're all guessing what Rey's parents are. Yeah, they're fucking nobodies. They're fucking nobodies. Deal with it.
Oh, people are bringing up Jar Jar Binks. Let's be fucking honest here, all right? Even in the original trilogy, people were like, oh my god, Ewoks, Jinx, Jar Jar Binks, I should say Jinx. Jar Jar Binks was to sell some fucking merchandise and to be comic relief. If that and midichlorians are the sticking points for episode 1, that's minuscule in comparison to the shit fest of 8, which had the Porgs or whatever as their merchandise seller, while also shitting on all of the original characters.
I can't believe that they write Star Wars like this. That they write an episode 7. It's directed great. It was a lot of fun. It's great for reboot. Gets new people in Star Wars. Creates the old feeling for the ones that have been doing it. Got a nod to our old characters. We get a nice setup for episode 8, and then it's completely different. Written by somebody completely different, and the tones are completely different. It's almost like episode 7 wasn't even necessary beyond learning about or getting introduced to Rey and Finn and Poe and whoever else is in it. That's it. It's almost, I mean, episode 9 better just bring it all to, there better be some kind.
Jar Jar needs to be a Sith Lord.
It's just annoying, man. It's just annoying, dude.
Jar Jar needs to be a Sith Lord.
Senseless, dude.
At this point, it's already fucked anyway, so make Jar Jar the Sith Lord. I got a funny
feeling that the Han Solo movie is going to suck ass. I just got a feeling.
Well, I mean, so much has happened to it. It wouldn't even be surprising. I mean, at this point, I think it would be more surprising if it was wildly successful and good.
Oh, and another thing, last thing about episode 8. So, you know how we get absolutely like no reaction from Luke Skywalker emotionally. Like we don't even really get a scene. I have to watch it again, but we don't even get a scene where Luke Skywalker is really, fighting the good side, or like wanting to fucking, or having a moment, like doing something. And there's a deleted scene that is like 6 seconds long of when Rey shows up at his door or whatever, and he sees Rey, and this is like before the lightsaber throw.
Oh, okay.
And he sees Rey, and he goes back to his little hut, and he sits down, and you could tell he's fighting. Like, it's a very emotional, like there's no word says, but he's very emotional, and he knows like his time has come.
Yeah.
He knows that what is about to be bestowed on him. Like, you can just get that feel. The music's right. It's sort of uplifting yet mysterious, and you could tell that he's fighting this. Now, even if they had just put in like the fucking 6 seconds, I mean, do you gotta take 6 seconds out of the movie? It would have given a little bit more context, and I would have understood it a little bit more, where he actually had a moment of old Luke, where it's like, come on, Luke, get out of this, step up and be the Jedi, train her, you know what this means. But then not do it, but then go to and act like you don't care and be angry and angsty. If they would have put that in there,
context is good.
Oh, it would have been like, I still would have hated it, but I wouldn't. But I'd understand. I'd be like, okay, all right, I hear you going. But I still don't like it.
It sent such a bad taste in my mouth when I watched it in theaters when the Gabs and I went, and I saw that lightsaber throw. it tainted like the next 45 minutes to an hour because all I could think about was the fucking lightsaber throw. I couldn't get my head around it.
And the amount of stuff that lightsaber's been through. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And he gets the lightsaber. It's like the lightsaber is there. and like he's on an island for fuck God knows how long, and he just tosses it like it's
so in relation
it's like
to this,
a jar of that fucking blue jizz from the
titty
weird
milk.
animal.
Mark Hamill is concerned about Star Wars oversaturation. Do we agree?
I don't think so. I'm okay with a Star Wars movie every year as long as we're getting an actual episode every couple of years. I'm okay with Star Wars. It's not like I don't want less Star Wars. I just want good Star Wars. That's all. You know, give us. No one ever complains about good content, right? No one complains about too much Game of Thrones. It's like we're now complaining that we got to wait another year to see the last 6 episodes of Game of Thrones. We all wish we could just watch Game of Thrones. Like, I mean, if Game of Thrones was airing tonight at 4 a.m., you better bet your ass I'm up till 4 a.m. waiting for Game of Thrones. Like, we don't care. Like, sure, we want it to end at some point, but we're not going to complain as long as it's good, as long as it keeps being good. So, you know what? Honestly, I just think Mark Hamill is salty, and rightfully so. I think Mark Hamill now has got to realize, and he does, and he said this, that he's done. His journey is done. It's over. Like, it's done. His 30-something years, it's over. Everything that he's known is over. Now Disney gets to destroy everything that he thought was, and it's done. He has to just kind of accept that, and I think now he's gonna continuously throw shade. I think that's what we're gonna see. I think it's gonna be Mark Hamill talking. I think from interviews from years to come, he's gonna be talking about the good old days, and he's gonna talk about the time that Rian Johnson killed his generation of Star Wars.
And I wouldn't care.
No.
I couldn't. I'll listen to him. I couldn't hate him for it because I agree with pretty much everything he says. I don't think he's being, you know, hyperbolic at all. I think it's justified.
I'd love
honestly
to know what George Lucas has to say. Like, you know, like, can you imagine?
Which is funny because people wanted Lucas away from the films as far as humanly fucking possible, and now we've seen this, and people are going to say, well, you know, maybe old Crazy George wasn't the worst thing that could have, you know.
We got JJ coming back for episode 9, right?
Yep.
So
yeah, he's on for 9.
I expect 9 to be infinitely better than 8. Infinitely. It just pisses me off. Like, why would you do this? Why would you have JJ come on and then Rian Johnson and then JJ again? Just get JJ to fucking to write and direct a trilogy.
Have consistency.
Why? Like, I get it. Okay, you can make the argument. Okay, not everybody. It wasn't just George Lucas that directed fucking the original Star Wars. I get it. But you better be damn sure that George Lucas was in hella writing throughout all this and backseat gaming the fuck out of this. And to at least not have JJ there going, dude, this is not what I set up, bro. Like, you know, this is, what are you doing? And now he's going to, like, pick up the pieces? And what? Are we going to get the same tone that Rian Johnson, or are we going to go right back to JJ Star Wars? It's just fuckery, man. Fuck this shit, dude.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Fuck it.
It is hard to. It's hard. It's hard to watch. Really, I have one more topic here, but that's a good place to fucking end that
Just
section.
end it now.
Go to tech support. It's time for tech support. Just fuck you, Rian Johnson. Fuck yourself. All right. Let's see what we got here for questions. Oh, Billy Button, $80 lifetime supporter. Shout out, Billy. Said, are boneless wings chicken nuggets?
Yes. I know they're like a different kind, but I would say they're a chicken nugget.
I agree with Panic on this. I think the chicken nuggets.
I think it depends on how they're prepared.
Oh, come on.
Because okay,
You're stretching.
well, no,
Come on.
because you know, for example, you know, they're not, you know, when you think of a chicken nugget, they're battered differently than a chicken wing is done. Chicken wings aren't really battered; they're just put into the fryer and then sauced. So it would be kind of like arguing you know is
A hamburger a sandwich?
or is a meatloaf sandwich a hamburger? And like it's like sort of, but they're prepared differently, and it's going to be a different you know experience. Like eating a chicken nugget versus eating a boneless chicken wing is a different textural thing entirely.
I don't know, Adam.
disagree.
I think it's a chicken nugget. I just think it's a chicken nugget.
Is cereal soup then?
I that's a little
So?
bit. That's a,
Well, I
that's a
think
thing.
soup is hot, right?
You can have cold soups, but at the same time, chicken
You can have
nuggets,
warm cereal.
That is true.
I wouldn't be.
Shit.
Yeah. Huh?
But I'm doubling down. It's a chicken nugget, maybe a different kind of chicken nugget, but it's still chicken.
Yeah, I'm with Panic on this.
Okay.
I'm gonna go chicken nugget.
Okay. Okay. One sec.
Or is popcorn chicken a chicken nugget?
Oh, that is absolutely at that point. They're just
so
a
let me-
minute. They're just a miniature
So yeah, this is what I'm gonna
chicken
say, then.
nugget.
You'll have popcorn chicken as a mini nugget. You have the actual nugget as a nugget, and then a boneless wing is usually a bigger chicken nugget.
There you go. Boom.
I think we've solved this case.
What chicken nuggets have you been eating? Have you like chicken nuggets are fucking like, you know, they're not really smaller than a chicken wing.
Like a boneless chicken wing is usually a big chunk of chicken that's just breaded.
But like
I had boneless wings for lunch today.
like I'm not going to disagree with you, but well, you guys are in the States. You guys have like
I
chickens
think it's just more
crossbred
of a
with
shape.
like
I think
fucking
it's just a
mastodons.
shape thing. That's all. It's like, you know, a shape.
I suppose.
I feel like boneless wings tend to be a little bit meatier than just a regular chicken nugget.
You know, it's like a sausage and a hot dog, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I might have 5 boneless wings versus 10 chicken nuggets.
Okay, next.
Here's Duke, 120 lifetime. Shoutouts to Duke.
Duke.
Said, what is the max age of a woman that you would still consider having sex with, hypothetically?
18.
I think he meant that would be
Max age.
minimum.
Oh,
talking
shit. I
maximum.
thought you said, oh, okay, maximum.
Maximum.
Although 18 would just be really young now.
I don't think I
Yeah,
could
that
do
would just
it. I
be-
don't think I
That'll
could
be a
do
little
it.
weird, Jeff.
I could if there were a smoke show, like, you know, like the fucking, like straight out of high school, fucking, like, you know, just the titties that are like just developed. You know what I mean? Like, just,
I'm not actually gonna join you on anything that you're saying right now.
I
I'm
don't
just
care.
gonna let you.
You know what type of titties I'm talking about? The ones that just haven't even seen much sun. You know what I mean? Like, it's like they still, like, they just finished. It's like a ripe fruit. You know, it hasn't sat on the shelf long enough. You know, it's fucking just like it's just prime. It's prime for the taking. You know what I'm talking about, man.
I do.
See it, dude. I was just
I
down
do.
Dominican for spring break. I've seen lots of those titties around where you're going. You have to like almost get ID. You're like, I don't even know I should be looking at you. Like, how old are you? Oh, I'm 19. It's like, God damn. like, God damn.
Okay, I'm gonna go. But what's the max then? What's the max?
You're digging yourself a hole, Jeff. I'm not digging a hole. I'm just fucking, I don't give a shit, man. You know what type of titties I'm talking about. All right. Don't even sit there. You know what I'm talking about. The perfectly ripe, of course, legal age titties that
Yes.
haven't seen the light of day.
Yes.
All right. I said 18, boys. I didn't say fucking 16 here. I'm talking about 18, where the maturity level on the girl is probably not very high.
I get you.
But the titties are perky, and they're still they're almost like pulsating because they're just finishing the form. It's like when Frieza turns into its final form and it just finishes, but his body's still fucking pulsating a little bit because you know it just completed and you're just in that awe of power. You're like, God damn, you know, fuck. All right.
Okay.
All right, maximum age.
Maximum age.
I need to go watch some Dragon Ball Super. All right. Just trying to paint a picture for you guys, all right?
Oh,
I love
my.
women. What can I say?
I know, I'm with you.
Oldest possible? Well, I mean, you can't really put an age on it. I think it would be like, it would just be...
You would know it when you saw it type thing.
Yeah, you would know when you saw it. Like, if you saw, like, a beautiful, mature woman that told you she was 55, but she looked fucking like, you know, something special. Like, I see some really gorgeous middle-aged women. Like, and you know what? The older I get, the less I look at the young ones. Like, I you know, honestly,
That's just
and I can honestly say
this is called growing up, I think, or
and
getting older.
And I can honestly say this. I'm not saying this to like redeem myself from what I just said, because I still stand true to what I just said. Is when I see 18-year-olds and, you know, they're trashy looking or whatever, I honestly don't think like, God damn, I wish I was 18 again. Like, I honestly don't think that I thought that way a lot more when I was just down south, but when there's a lot of booze and there's literally like a woman is 90% nude and they're all 20-year-olds and it's very charged. Yes, of course. You know, I'm going to look at women, but I can honestly say like, I'm not attracted to 18-year-olds. And if I was a single guy, I would not be on the prowl for 18-year-old women. I probably wouldn't even be looking for 20-year-old. Like, you know, they would have to be something looking really special for me to be like, you know what, I want to lay down with this. In all honesty, the older I get, the more I look for maturity in a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like a woman that got her shit together. That's attractive to me. Obviously, they got to be attractive to have a physical connection. But I mean, I almost find like the older I get now, the younger women look, it's not that I'm not attracted to them. It's just I don't think of them that way. It's like I don't think like, oh man, I would, you know, I'd break it off. You know, I think more that way for older women. And I'm not talking like 40 or 50. I'm talking maybe my age or a little bit older. You know, if I see a woman with a child now, before I'd be like, God damn, she's got a kid. She's written off. You're used. You're done. You know, you're done. Now, you know, now if I see an attractive mother, you know, out there doing her thing, then I'm like, God damn, you know, okay, mama. You know what I mean? Like, I never thought that way before, even 5 years ago. So for me, I can't put an age on it. I think like I probably, if I had to put an age, I'd probably think around 55 is where like in my mind, I'm going, okay, this, she's old as fuck. You know, like my mom's fucking 50, you know, 55, I think, you know, where I'm going, okay, this is weird. But I think if she was attractive enough, and there was something mysterious about her where I'm going, you know, I know she's older, but I'm kind of curious. And then at the end, she's like, you know, I'm old enough to be your mom. Like, I don't give a shit. She's like, yeah, I'm 55. Be like, God damn. Okay. All right. You're 55. All right. So I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah.
I think it's just an attractive. I got to just be attracted to her. I guess would be as old as it would go.
Yeah, I think that's the key to it. Really, is that it's whether or not you find them attractive. Less about age and more about you find them attractive. Too obviously for those that would extrapolate that in the opposite and negative direction. You know, like for the reasons Jeff just mentioned. You know, most guys, from a guy's perspective, and girls start thinking this before guys do. Girls start to look for grown-up guys before guys start to look for grown-up.
They're looking for father
women.
figures, Adam.
Yeah,
they're looking for father figures.
They're looking for somebody to support them and their kid, basically.
It's like, hey,
right?
I need an allowance, hubby, and I need shelter.
My
and
child
food,
needs food.
occasional dick.
Yep.
And do you have a job? And have you had it for more than 2 years? Yes. All
Great.
right, come to bed.
We're on. So that's, and girls start thinking that long before, because they mature before guys do, long before guys do. But yeah, no, I'm kind of in a similar position. I mean, there are very few guys that, Jeff painted a very flowery image for us in regards to the body type of a younger woman, which is, let's be fucking real. There's nothing creepy about that description other than the fact that it was for humor's sake. It's fucking reality. Women hunt that shit down for life to hold on to that body type for as long as humanly possible. It's really good to be body positive image wise, to be like, I don't care that I'm aging and I like to age, because when you own it and you age well, men and women both, it's hot, right? I mean, that's what it's confidence. But if you asked most people, the majority of the time, if they could keep their body as it was at like 22 years old, the answer is going to be unequivocally, yes, give me that body, unless, of course, you were like morbidly obese and then you went on Jenny Craig and by the time you were 30, you were a smoke show or some shit. But you know what I mean by, the body of a 22-year-old attractive, you get that for life? Yes, and you spend fucking thousands upon thousands of dollars a year in makeup and fucking all these fanciful things to give the illusion of just that. And guys like me, you worry when your hair thins, and you worry when shit's not working quite right anymore. You can't work out as hard, and you lose your testosterone, your muscles aren't there anymore. You worry about that shit because you want to look that good, because that's attractive. It's just fucking biology.
Yep.
So, yes.
But I'm the creep. Apparently, I'm the fucking creep.
Well,
because I'm the guy that just speaks the truth over here. All right.
It's stupid to think that that's creepy. I mean, if you're not a fucking pedophile for liking the body type of a 18 to 20-year-old woman. That's just called biology, for fuck's sake. And again, and it's weird because it's fucking in some places 16 is the limit, 18, 21. So we might as well all just play it safe and be like, all right, that's what I'm saying, 22 years old. That'll be my 22.
I'm sticking with 18, bro.
22.
I'm sticking with 18.
Because there's not much in those.
What's the maximum?
There's that level of naive and curiosity.
I'm setting my minimum, and my maximum is whatever I find fucking attractive. Really, I mean, that's all it is. It's about attractiveness, and what you find attractive changes over time, both in terms of personality and otherwise. Personality goes a long fucking way in life, and you don't realize that when you're 18 years old, because all you can think about if you're a woman or a guy is just how fucking good looking are they. Really, that's like 90% of it.
How big's their dick?
Yeah, or just just for women, just to how nice are your tits? How nice is your ass? Are you overweight? Are you underweight? What is your thing? And then it becomes
what the women do. That's
and then
how
it becomes
operate.
And then it becomes a mixture of that plus are you an asshole?
Do you beat women?
Do you enjoy backhanding women whenever you lose at a game of Mario Kart? There are some lines that get drawn in the sand, and then you go from there. That's just fucking reality. So yeah, maximum age, I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, 85, woo! But you know what I mean? It's going to be whatever I just find attractive. I'm not going to put an age on that, because that's a weird way to look at that. I think it's because it changes too over time. It's what you find attractive is
you can meet
fluid.
A very sexy 50-year-old woman that got her shit together, that is attractive, that is mysterious, that fucking is a cougar, that is just you definitely can. It all depends on what you're looking for. What about you, Panic? What's your age?
What's that stupid rule for the minimum age?
Is it like your age
there's like some math involved?
Yeah, it's like divided by 2
plus 7?
Something. 7?
Something
That
like
might
that.
be it.
Something like that?
Whatever number that fits in where I'm the lower number. Where I'm the target number. I'll go with that from the above.
Oh, okay.
Oh, half plus 7? Okay, half your age plus 7.
Okay, so double your age minus 7. And that's what your limit is?
Yeah, that's what I'll go with.
Okay. So,
50-something.
51, 52?
Something like that.
Somewhere in there?
1, yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's like, you know,
Yeah,
if
like
I heard
55.
like I said, if I heard it over 55, I'd probably be like a little turned off just from the
Yeah.
age itself, just from hearing it. But if I don't know it, then be whatever. It would just be totally whatever. But I know for me, I would I'd be more likely to, if saying I'm single, of course not, but if I was a single man, I'd be more likely to sleep with somebody that is exponentially older than I am than what I would sleeping with an 18 to a 21-year-old, right? I just would. If there was like a 45-year-old or, you know, a 43-year-old or something, I'd be much more inclined to shack up and probably be, I wouldn't even say maybe more physically attractive, but even just be up for it more, right? Because I know the shit that would be involved with trying to shag which probably wouldn't be that hard to do, but it would be the psychological stuff that goes along with it, where you're like, God damn, you know, now I got to deal with this.
Well, yeah,
And
of
just
course.
be like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then it'd just be like, you know, it's not worth it. So it would have to be, you know, to shag an 18 to a 21 or a 22-year-old, they would have to be like a fucking dream.
Like an
It'd
11.
have to be just like, oh my God.
I've got my
I'm
girlfriend
willing
in.
to
I
fuck
got
up real bad right now.
I got my girlfriend in chat right now, just running way too wild with what we're saying in this podcast right now, and just
Triggered.
and just extrapolating way too far. I don't think I like it. Like, okay, so no, a woman's expiry date isn't in her 50s, because eventually we're all going to be in our 50s, and odds are there are going to be some 60-somethings and some 70 that look attractive. It's just, that's life.
I'm just going. I
But
use
from
the
right
mathematical
now in
formula
life-
to calculate mine.
Yeah, like
It's a moving
right
calculation.
now, at the age of 29, there is a theoretical min-max here in this age that will shift. Because I can tell you, like, in my 60s, you know, from an intellectual capacity, the odds of me being attracted more than even, and even then it would probably be weird to me, to a girl in her 20s is pretty slim.
You'd be like the old man going, yeah,
Yeah,
you know
it's just
like,
fucking weird.
Yeah.
You might find them attractive. You could say yes, absolutely, but in reality, you're like, I'd feel like I was trying to, like, they're like a baby at that point. They have no life experience. They're comparatively speaking, life experience wise, they're as dumb as a fucking post. So like, there's not going to be nearly as much attractiveness there. But it's just. Yeah, it's just that's life. I mean, and women get caught up in it, but dudes deal with this shit too. You know, guys, it's again, the easy ones are going bald early in life, or going gray early in life, because not all women find bald or gray men attractive. Can you grow a beard? Can you not grow a beard? Do you have a natural amount of testosterone in your body? If you don't, you're fucked. You literally cannot overcome genetics. You could go to the gym every fucking day of your life, and you're not really going to go anywhere. You might get, relatively ripped, but you're going to get toned, but you're not really going to be so like there are beauty standards that everyone has to try to, or doesn't have to, but that it's hard to do the mental gymnastics to not try to conform to, and live with the fact that there are your best years and best chances at that. I was my best at, coincidentally, 22 years old. That shit's long fucking gone. And life. Now you got to deal with what you can do now and kind of live with it. But it's just reality. I always found it funny or silly for people getting hung up on this stuff, because it's fucking biology, man. Get over it, for fuck's sake. It's biology. You're gonna be attracted to shit, and
it
it's
changes
different for
over
men and women, and it
time.
changes over
what
time.
You're attracted to when you're 20, and then when you're 30, and when you're 40, when you're 50. There's different times for, everybody matures, and they're into different things at different times. That's just the way.
Oh, and
she
that's another good one actually for men. It's height. How tall you are.
See, I don't think about any of that stuff, honestly. Like, I don't worry about.
Well, you're also
balding.
you're also a
about
5'10" attractive black
5'11".
male. Sorry,
5'11",
5'11" black. So you're in like the You're there. Like, there's no reason for you to think about it because
I
you're there,
suppose.
right? Like, you're
I
not
suppose.
part of the demographic that would have to think about that because you're not part of the demographic. But for somebody who's 5'4", now you're hitting up as a guy. You get into where women are just gonna, a lot of women are gonna go,
Well, then you just work on your wallet. You have your wallet be 7 foot.
Danny
Make up some
DeVito.
bitches.
It worked for him.
Work for him.
One more. And if you think about it in the right way, it could be related to what we just talked about. Do you prefer to walk on carpet or hardwood? And this comes in from Mishitaki, who is a $60 lifetime supporter. Shout out to Mishitaki.
Honestly, I prefer to walk on carpet, but I prefer to have hardwood. So
From a visual perspective, you mean?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So visually speaking, hardwood all day. Even though this is carpeted, but for obvious reasons,
Right.
it's the basement. It'd be cold down here, and then also for noise.
Yeah.
And I've got like the thick carpet, the ones that when you're stepping on it, you kind of sink.
It's the under padding. That's
the
what
good
makes
shit.
it. Yeah, it's good carpet.
It's the good shit. So I'd rather walk on this all day than walk up on the hardwood, but I have to have hardwood everywhere else because it just looks so much.
Should
nicer.
probably go to the hospital about that if it's lasting for longer than 4 hours, Jeff.
Oh my god.
In my particular case, it's more by time of day. Like if I'm waking up and I'm, just either I'm waking up or winding down and I'm just relaxing or whatever, I just want carpet. But if I'm going about my day, moving around, doing things like active, I prefer to just have hardwood just because, I don't know, it's more reinforced to walk on, But yeah, if I'm just chilling and relaxing, carpet all day. Otherwise.
Yeah, I think this is probably not going to be like. I think that's probably the standard answer. Is obviously carpet is more comfortable to walk on in the majority of situations, especially if it's good carpet. But from a maintenance,
Not the carpet in your basement.
No, because there not only is the carpet about the lowest knit count you can possibly have, but also the thinnest underpadding with basically no subfloor. So it's just like direct to concrete. It's not really
If
all
you
that
look
great.
hard enough, you can actually see the concrete.
Yeah,
through
no.
your carpet.
If you get down on your hands and knees, like you're doing push-ups or something, when you get down to you can actually see through the knit of the carpet into the underpadding because it's that high quality. But yeah, that's. You know what though? Some engineered hardwoods and stuff that they're coming out with have a nice give to them now that are actually really comfortable to walk on, while
The
still
engineered
giving
hardwood
you.
is usually a floating floor. That's the main reason for the give.
Yeah, but the material itself is still hard as a fucking rock, right? If it's real hardwood.
Engineered hardwood, regular hardwood is actually just solid wood straight through with like a little layering. Engineered hardwood is just a thinner layer of the actual like nice wood, and then it's got like a
it's a veneer
sandwich.
on top of an engineered material, but the difference is that not only is it can it be a floating floor like a real hardwood, but it also the material itself has more give to it than a hardwood
heated,
does.
Like there's heated floors, like hardwood.
Yeah.
That just like holds heat and shit.
Yeah.
It's all kinds of cool stuff. But we're talking some expensive ass hardwood floors. We're talking.
If we're talking real, honest to God, 2-inch thick hardwood floors, that shit you might as well just be.
We got that in my old house, the one that I lived in my childhood. We got this is actually a funny story. Like we moved in and the entire house completely carpeted. And we actually had called contractors in to replace the carpet. And the guy ripped up like a corner and he looked at it. And he just looked at my parents. He's like, "How long have you guys lived in the house?" We're like, "Oh, we just moved in." And he looks down. He's like, "Hold on a sec." Goes out to his truck and he like brings the sander and he like sands it down a little bit. He looks at it. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to install carpet for you guys. Just so you guys know, this is like solid oak, like actual hardwood flooring. Like it's dirty, but it can be fixed." And he like did like a little sample. We fixed that shit up like 15, 16 years ago. Shit looks amazing still to this day.
Well, yeah, real hard. I mean, there's a reason why you pay a fortune for it too, and it's because it holds
Shit
up.
Still looks perfectly like it looks like maybe a little bit worn from the day we did it, but it's like 14, 15 years.
Oh, you just resurface it.
Yeah, we haven't had to resurface. It still looks great.
Yeah.
My engineered floors in my apartment, it's engineered hardwood. It holds up, but nowhere near as well as.
Well, no, of course not. But you're also not spending even half as much money on it.
This is true.
It's just straight up. It's just.
No, man, I had to replace half the floor in this apartment. That was not cheap.
No, well, it's still not cheap. Engineered, anything that has hardwood in the title is going to cost you a fortune. You know, it could literally be styrofoam. It could be laminated styrofoam, where only the first like 2 millimeters is hardwood, but you're still going to pay a fortune because it says hardwood. Yeah. Well, what a great place to end that. What a great way to age all of us that we had that much of an opinion on flooring type. It's a good way to know that we've all hardwood. Grown into respectable old men that we can talk about flooring types with such detail. That's good to know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by, listening, watching another Technical Alpha podcast. It's been a blasty blast. The Patreon producers, you guys know what's up. I mean, you haven't seen new names coming and going on this for forever now, because basically people just they never leave. Jetrix, Postal Panda, Chico, Derek P, Naily, Adam B, Jamaican J, Jorbach, Toadsteel, and Matthew M. We got some of these guys in here gonna give me a mortgage on my first home if they keep this shit up. They've been around for so long. Absolute legends, each and every one of you. Thank you guys so much. Make sure that when you receive your Technical Alpha swag, hit us up on Twitter or some shit. Let us know that you got it. Show us your swag. We want to see your smiling face, or maybe you just hate it all. Show me a grimace. just be angry with it. But send us some stuff. Let us know that you guys have got your swag, and because we'd love to see it. And again, we'll be back next week for some more Technical Alpha, and hope that you look forward to it. And until we do see you next week, do us a favor, have a good morning, afternoon, or evening. And until then, peace.
Bye.